Hey, it's the Redeye stream number 111. Hey, MC, there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Changed my mind.
Oh no, so it's the second worst thing that we could talk about.
No,
how many tons of uranium that were shipped out of Iraq? There were none, right? The fact that
they were not in Iraq. Were they in Iraq?
They were in Iraq.
Okay, I want to point out here before you get carried away. Maud is actually right on this. It's the way you Americans pronounce things. It wasn't uranium, it was aluminium.
Oh, it was not aluminium. Good God.
Yes, we bombed them over aluminum. We needed beer cans, guys.
With aluminium. Anyway.
No, there is somebody new here. I believe you do have a channel. You want to give us a little introduction and tell us what you do, sir?
Sure. I'm Phobidium. I run a small political/meme YouTube channel. Yeah, I've been on YouTube for the past couple of years. Only started doing political stuff since the Trump election. And yeah, that's basically about it.
All right, well, thanks for joining us.
Why did you get into doing politics?
Well, originally, my channel was all about animation and stop motion. And I really started getting into politics probably as soon as I got into college. And I thought, why not dabble around in some politically oriented animation and stop motion? So I did that, and yeah, it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, small channel when he's bigger than anyone here. By a fucking lot.
He has graced us with his presence. Well, he's graced Mad Dodge with his presence anyway. Of course, we all grace Mad Dodge with our presence, so it's not
Mad Dodge, control your screen.
No, I was going to ask, what's your political leanings?
According to the 8 values test, I am a capitalist fascist, but I don't really trust that. I consider myself more of a a authoritarian minarchist, if that makes any sense. So
that kind of like actually to me.
Sorry, yeah. Hang on. I understand the first bit, but did you say minotaurist?
Minarchist. So like minarchy, like minimal state influence. So basically a libertarian, but like not as.
Well, no, that's what I'm wondering. Where does the authoritarian part come in? Like, I get to control the whole city, like, yeah. But you know, it's
enforced
just me, so
libertarianism, basically.
He believes in taxes, Mad Dodge. He doesn't believe that taxes are theft. How's that? Simple
taxes
definition.
Theft. How dare you?
Mad Dodge, you'll take your freedoms and you'll fucking like it. Deal with it, man. This is your state-enforced libertarianism.
You have to answer the real question around.
My guess is that he's all for roads.
No, but wait a minute. That connects perfectly to where I led off with Iraq. That's what we did, right? You will take our freedom and you will fucking like it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Whether or not that turned out well.
We can discuss what happened in Iraq on another stream, because...
Yeah, point to me a road in Iraq.
Well, there's this one really long road that they kept fucking running into IEDs on. I mean, that was a road.
It was a road.
Not after the first IED.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been after the first IED. That's true.
But what we're all really have to know, Ran, since you are a political commentator now, the Jewish question. Go.
Oh, Jesus.
So me? Let's see. I like to consider myself woke on the JQ. Let's see. Where do you want me to start?
Well, the acceptable answer is gospel them all.
Oh, okay.
We're all going to be best friends here. Just a little bit.
See. Yeah, I'm, let's just say, I don't know if I want to remain YouTube appropriate or not, but yeah, I'm at the 14, not so much the 88. But yeah, I'm close. Yeah, they do hold a disproportionate amount of influence in the West.
One of us. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
What a view. What a view. I try to be the voice of reason on your crazy stormer rages.
How well's that been working out, Mad Dodge?
It's like pissing in the wind, brother. It's like pissing in the wind.
Okay, what's the first topic of discussion today?
North Korea and South Korean love fest. They did a little photo op. They shook hands across the border. Everything looks all right. Right, MC? Peace in our time, sir.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, it is good. It is good that they're talking. There were a number of firsts, not the least of which is actually walking up to the other side of Panmunjom, all right, without coming at it with axes trying to kill the other side, which the North Koreans have done several times in the past. So it's hopeful. Now, there's a number of other things that have been happening with regards to that. One is China today released a paper, one of their university papers, basically saying that the atomic weapons testing that the North Koreans were doing have so badly damaged their tunnel capacity that it actually collapsed the tunnel and is now leaking radiation everywhere.
Oh,
right? Which could be a reason why they like the idea of denuclearizing the peninsula now that they pretty much radiated themselves.
Well, and the other thing is that they most likely do not. There's a good chance they're not as technologically advanced as the South. Let's just say that, and they're probably going to need help plugging that hole, if I had to bet.
Well, I would venture to say that it has more to do with the fact that right after they detonated the last nuke, they also triggered a small earthquake, which people have speculated trapped all of their scientists underground on a permanent basis.
So, are you referencing the last bomb that was dropped? It was hypothesized to actually be a hydrogen bomb or something along those lines?
This last nuclear test that they did.
I actually don't recall the last one, unless that's the one you were talking about.
It was about 6 months ago.
Okay, I think we're on the same page.
And they think it was they do believe it was a hydrogen device or a thermal nuclear device, which has far more yield. Now, obviously, we don't have their specifications. We're not being shown exactly what they did. But the fact that there was an earthquake, a secondary earthquake that was triggered after the fact, and it was a fairly strong one. 6.0 on a Richter scale is not an insignificant earthquake when you're right at the epicenter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's a few miles away or so forth, then yeah, it just kind of rocks a few buildings and nobody really cares. But if you're standing right on the fault line, it can be a little bit more terrifying than that. So that could be one of the reasons why the North Koreans are willing to do this. It also could have been the trigger for the Chinese to say, look, we've had enough. You're now leaking radiation. We're not going to allow your radioactive tests to radiate us. All right. Trump has praised China's involvement with this. All right. So it looks positive. All right. However, all that being said, all this could drop into the freaking pot in a matter of minutes. World events have a tendency of changing people's attitudes or causing other effects that people don't realize. So could something change? If things look positive now, yes. But I think cautious hope is the best way to approach this. I really think that people are going overboard. Good God, people are trying to give Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, and nothing's even been decided yet.
Well, Obama didn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. If he even gets half as close as giving real peace in the Korean Peninsula, he deserves it. Goddamn. He did way more than Obama, and he got it fucking a give me. Free trophy for participation.
I'm not gonna try to justify Obama's Peace Prize in any way, shape, or form. But at this point in time, let's see what happens first. I think it's a bit premature to say that we have peace on the Korean Peninsula. That's all I'm saying.
I have to agree with. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I think it was a mix between the fact that the nuclear scientists are incompetent and we're leaking radiation essentially into China. But I also think that over the past 10 months, roughly, ever since the fallout with the Otto Warmbier situation, where he came home like brain dead, basically, I think that Trump has been in secret communication, or at least his high-end officials, like Mike Pompeo, have been in close contact with North and South Korean diplomats, trying to work out a situation. Whether this originally was intended to be denuclearization, I don't know. But I definitely think that the Kim regime was given a ultimatum, and they either could keep up with what they were doing, keep trying to complete these nuclear tests and risk more lives and risk spilling radiation all across the peninsula, or they could stop doing the tests and Kim would still be allowed his royal, if you want to call it that, or his power, essentially. And if he chooses to denuclearize, he will be allowed to remain in power as long as he tries to make peace with the South. But also, though, I think the only reason why he's giving in is because there's some kind of agreement that went around that international courts and like the UN, for example, won't go after him after peace takes place, after there's a peace treaty or anything like that. I think they'll try and I think they promised him what they promised Pinochet after he finally abdicated. They said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to come after you. Like human rights courts are not going to be basically, yeah, going to be up your ass, essentially for the rest of your life." So I think he's just going to end up basically fading into obscurity over the next couple of generations.
That's a good possibility. But I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know about the fact that there was possible radiation leaking from, you know, whatever underground test site that they decided to detonate this hydrogen or thermal nuclear device in. To be honest, this actually makes me doubt them just a little bit more, if I'm going to be frank. Because, I mean, what's the possibility that they've fucked themselves through testing nuclear devices, and they then in turn can't contain the nuclear spillage or the radiation coming out of this test site? I mean, look at was it Fukushima that recently had a meltdown?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Yeah, okay, Fukushima. I mean, look at how the Japanese are handling Fukushima. I mean, it's going to be covered in radiation for years to come. Right. There's going to be environmental effects for years to come. And to be quite honest, I think it was something like about a year ago, they recently found a leak, and they said it's going to take them another 2 to 3 years to plug that leak up. So there's still radioactive material involved with the Fukushima meltdown that's being exposed to the environment. So what are the chances that North Korea just simply needs help dealing with the nuclear disaster that they've caused for themselves?
In this regard, I don't think it's that much. All right. There's a huge difference between a meltdown and a reactor that's melting down and a nuclear weapons test.
Okay.
Okay. A nuclear weapons test does cause radiation. All right. It does irradiate an area, and an area is hot. Generally, the area will remain hostile to human life for approximately,
isn't it like 4 or so years on average?
Well, it's dangerous, but it's not necessarily as dangerous. After about 4 or 5 months, you can basically have people walking around and taking measurements and things like that without too much difficulty. If this is an underground test, however, all right, most of the material is still going to be buried and will remain buried. Right now, the question remains, however, what they're using, because there's certain aspects that happen when you detonate the thermonuclear device. All right, depending upon what kind of shielding. I'm sure people at least my age will remember people talking about having a cobalt lining causing massive amounts of radiation due to the excesses of cobalt-60 being spread in the atmosphere, and all that, this kind of fears and stuff. That is a concern. We don't know what they were using for secondary shielding material, which could exacerbate the situation. But unlike Fukushima, which is still melting down, right, where they haven't stopped the actual nuclear reaction yet, right, and that is a problem. Okay, you don't have the continuing. You don't have an expansion of the radiation, right? It will slowly decay over several years. Now, all that being said, the radiation that's initially put out is extensive. Number one. And number two is if it blew a hole somewhere, if it basically had a leak, the wind currents would take it straight into China, right? And China can't be real happy with that. Okay, and plus the fact, I'm going to be real blunt. This guy has constantly caused China all sorts of problems on the international stage. Whenever China has tried to flex itself, all right, Kim Jong-un has felt that this is the time that he's going to, pop off, which then China then has to stop what its progress, or what its initial thing is, to deal with the fact that their ally is mouthing off to such an extent that something else could happen. It was interfering with their own international relations. All right, so to put a stop to it from that standpoint, I can see China putting pressure on them. Now, one of the reasons why I said be cautious about this is let's just assume that all of this did happen, that a bunch of their scientists did end up getting killed in this latest test. All right, we'll just use this as an example. This could just be a simple delaying tactic. All right, so that they can give themselves some breathing room, not really do anything, not really change anything. All right, just to have things cool down while they reposition themselves to start up again. Right. Once again, there are some firsts. It is a positive thing so far, but it still remains to be seen just how far this goes.
Well, I have to say that I think you're all being a little too. What's the word? I think you're throwing it in a good light. I think that's going to happen is that Kim Jong Ding Dong will be all nice and friendly until he gets rid of the U.S. Army troops in the demilitarized zone, and then he will crush his enemy and take the other side of Korea for himself. I think this is a long-term, possibly 5 to 10 year plan to get him the whole of Korea. But that's just my take on it.
I think that's no offense, but I think that's pretty even more out there. Actually, I think that's really just almost completely irrational for Kim, because if he was to do that, it would lead to some kind of contained nuclear conflict, I think, or at least it would end up causing a huge conventional artillery conflict on the DMZ, and it would lead to millions of deaths, and it would ultimately lead to Kim's destruction. It would ultimately lead to his own demise, I think, in the long run. I mean,
hang on. This is a dictator who believes he's God, just like all the
I don't think that
followers believes he's God. I mean, if I was a dictator, this is exactly what I would do to take the other side of Korea. I mean, and when the demilitarized zone, that's why I said it's going to be over a number of years. When the demilitarized zone is gone, U.S. troops are gone, the U.S. has nothing to do with it, and China won't start a nuclear war over North Korea, because I can guarantee you that once he is in the process of taking or has taken South Korea, he's going to play nice to China. You know,
guys, you gotta have a little faith in Ambassador Rodman.
He should be the one getting the Peace Prize.
Well, and voice. Here's the thing: I do have to disagree with that point. I don't believe he thinks he is a god emperor. I believe he thinks he is a mortal man that is playing a god emperor. And I say this based upon watching his interactions after he crossed over into South Korea. They're doing the standard photo ops, little kids give him flowers. And then they took a picture with some children. And if you noticed when he was taking the picture with that young girl, he at first put both hands on her shoulders, and then he removed one hand and then quickly put it back, because that to me is like a dude that's like, well, I don't want to seem too creepy with this young girl, but no, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
so he had a slight flab there, but that shows me he's a human being. And dude, the smile on his face, dude, if he could actually play the reunifier of the Korean Peninsula and basically declare victory to his own folks, get a bunch of photo ops, he literally would go down as the God Emperor of North Korea without having to continually execute all his close relatives and stuff, because they're probably going to try to kill him. I just kind of see that as historically what's been going on in Korea since his grandfather's been there.
No. I tend to be on it. I'll be honest with you. In a lot of ways, I lean toward Voice's opinions of the Kims.
Well, yeah. I mean, seriously, if you look at it, he was raised to think that his father was a god. Therefore, once his father moved on to wherever Korean gods go, he's the god, right?
But
I mean, this guy has a self-delusional upbringing. You're telling me he's not self-delusional?
I didn't think he was direct in line. I thought it was kind of like...
Didn't he have an older brother?
I thought he had a brother that disgraced the family, I guess.
He probably had him killed. I mean, come on.
I know he was educated in what was it, Switzerland, like elementary school, right? Didn't he go to a boarding school with?
If he did have a westernized, or even if it was just a Chinese education, he was exposed to more than North Korea itself. And you know what? MC and Voice could be completely right, because to be fair, if they did lose a lot of their technology, or at least the folks developing it, this would be an excellent delay tactic. Absolutely. I just think if you could go down his history as the great uniter of Korea, I think that's a better narrative.
Well, of course it would be a better narrative, but wishful thinking doesn't fix things. That's why I say you have to be cautious with this. It is positive. The steps that have taken place so far are positive. And I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. You were right about saying that Pompeo went over there and was talking to them, in kind of clandestine, having clandestine talks down there, right? That was actually...
He's the shadow ambassador under Dennis Rodman.
Well, he wasn't the shadow ambassador when he was over there. He was the CIA director. All right, so you can imagine what kind of weight that has. All right, especially with the Chinese. All right, so these things are taking place. It is a positive step so far, but to think that, to make the assumption that, oh well, he comes down like this and this is how he is and this is what he believes. We don't know what he believes. All right, I'm telling you, we don't know. None of us are frickin' psychologists. None of us have had an interview with him or have talked to him. All right. All we've got is examples of what he's done in the past. And when you feed family members to wild rabid dogs and you film it for your amusement for lunch, okay, you're not someone that was quote unquote raised with Western values.
Well, I don't think he did that for lunch. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, don't fetish shame the man. That's not what we do here. We're very progressive at the Redeye stream.
He did have that shown to him while he was eating.
But I mean, I don't know. I think the question is, who said it? Was it I'd rather be called merciful for a short while than ruler for a long time? I think it was like Philip of Macedon or something, like Macedonia or something like that. But
Macedon.
That yes, they make good burgers. But I mean, I think that's the question at hand. Does he want to be notorious or does he want to be famous? And at this point, I mean, the man's got to take into question his legacy ultimately. Does he want to be the man that started a nuclear war? Or does he want to be the man that helped to reunify two broken countries?
Completely. He wants to reclaim his international basically his image. He wants to reclaim it. I mean, he looks terrible from an international from the international community. I mean, if he does this,
yeah, a great way to sit up there and increase your standing in an international community is to use nerve agent on your half brother in the middle of the thing.
Well, I mean,
Well,
that's
that
not the
hasn't
point,
been
though. If
proven,
he's able to
but
do
I
this,
do think he wants to make Korea great again.
What was that, Ryan?
If he does end up getting this situation worked out and they officially do end the Korean War, I think it will, in a way, allow historians to look back on him and his legacy as multi-faceted and not just being the bad guy, not just the villain. Of course, he's a terrible human being, but I'm just saying that it allows him to reclaim his image, I think, in a way. It's going to make him look better in the long run.
And make him look like the great unifier, right? I mean, especially if in 20 years the Korean Peninsula united. He would be the great unifier.
18 years old.
I'm 21.
Oh, just curious, son.
And I was gonna say, actually,
Son.
the point that you made earlier about the fact that they kind of oh, what's this? Pinochet threw some dirty commies out of a helicopter. Well, I suppose we could look the other way if you kind of bend the knee a little bit. I don't see why they wouldn't do the same to Kim Jong-un. Although it's unfortunate he didn't off any communists. But
He only starved 1.5 million of his people to death.
well, no, but I mean,
Was it him or was it his father?
It was,
Or was it the radioactivity seeping out of the fucking ground from all those tests? I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
It was
there
like
might be
the
a reason
famine
they
that was
can't grow
caused.
cotton.
It was the famine that was caused by this man-made artificial dam that they installed. They thought it was going to be a good idea, but it turns out it ended
No,
up
this is
destroying.
American propaganda that kicked down North Korea.
You like
Don't
beards,
believe all of
Ryan?
it.
Or actually, hold on, wasn't actually
Like,
I don't
beards.
remember where this story came from, but there some place in the world they were actually fertilizing their crops with actual human feces. Was that actually North
Mexico
Korea?
does it all the time, brother.
yeah, there's several nations.
It's
that still do that.
humanure. Humanure.
Actually, when I look this up, I'm really
Yeah,
curious.
Mexico, there's a big thing about it. And listen, what's wrong with that? I mean, what's the difference between a dairy cow getting pumped silage all day? And I mean, and
What's
'cause
wrong
if
with that?
Oh,
yes,
I can tell you.
I mean, MC, if anybody knows, it would be you. Mrs. Ogre also is a scientist, and she quails at it, but she hasn't been able to give me any reason. If you can, please instruct me, MC.
Called human disease. Human
Okay,
transmitted disease.
Yeah,
Actually, if you use fertilizer right, you spray it on the ground and it takes it. I mean, they don't just come spray chicken or a cow. They put it on like in the wintertime right before they plow. So if you put almost anything right on it, is that. But once you put human manure on the ground, I haven't seen any scientific studies that say that it does.
Cholera is spread via human feces, exactly that way. And when you're talking about your major crop, especially being rice, where you flood the rice paddies and everything, you're pretty much guaranteeing that sooner or later you're going to have a plague.
All right, I'm
So,
out. What was you
MC,
saying, common sense?
What you're saying is human shit is bad.
yeah.
That's the reason why. Oh, shit.
I've grown marijuana plants with human urine, just mine. It fucking grows good pot.
It's because you were drunk.
That explains a lot about some of your
Actually, when I did
commentary.
that, I was like 21 and I did not drink. Mrs. Ogre lived with me. I mean, she's right there. I'll holler in here if somebody doubts my word. But no, I mean, I just peed around this plant, North Carolina. That's all I did. Didn't put any other fertilizer, but I just around in a pretty good perimeter. And when it got close to being done budding, I quit. So the rain will wash it out. Man, growed a nice big plant. But
All right. So here's
that sucks. Sorry, 40. I just wanted to hear that because the human manure thing was very important to me. Believe it or not, it really was. I wanted to know. And the cholera thing. One more thing quickly. Did you mean, would that affect the people eating the crops? And then I will shut up. Because what was you saying?
It can affect the people eating it and the people harvesting it even.
But the onus would be more on worrying about the harvesters, right? I mean, what would be in your whatever knowledge you have on it?
If you're harvesting it, all right, then
That's a big chance, right?
You're getting it in your hands. You're getting it in, and of course, if you then eat something with your hands, you can definitely spread it that way. But and if it spreads within the human body, you can then place it onto the crops as you're harvesting it, and then it can be spread far more widely. It isn't a guarantee, and yes, it is a practice that has happened for a long time in several of the Asian societies. All right.
Can I just point out here
that
we have gotten to the point where on this stream, on the Redeye, we are literally talking shite.
That's all I wanted to know. Thanks, MC. I'm going to tell Jenny that too. I just wanted to know if it would affect, because I thought there would be no risk to people eating it. But you're saying there would still be risk to people eating it, but there probably would be more risk to people picking it. That does make sense.
If you're curious about the case that I'm citing, I put a link in the like our group chat right there for you, Ogre.
Yeah.
That is actually the thing that I was remembering. But the other thing is that when you're talking about
Look at that fat fucker,
dude, I know. But the other thing is that when you're talking about using feces for creating manure, you don't just like walk up to a stalk of corn and like take a shit on it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta like mix it in like with
you have to like compost it. That's what you gotta do.
Yes, exactly. Composting. That's the theory. You know, so it's just like it also depends on it's just like how it actually advanced is North Korea. Do they know about the mysterious magic of composting?
No,
you know,
I think it's starting to be so close to the point where Kim Jong-un is going to have to give up some of his liquor supply. I mean, today he's shaking hands with the fucking president. I don't even know the president's name of South Korea. Maybe the pretty boy Ryan knows, somebody knows, but I don't know the guy's name. But he's shaking hands. What do you think he's shaking hands with him because he suddenly loves him? No, something's happening so bad up in North Korea that he's giving worms to the farmers. And not only that, I'm thinking it's getting to the point where even him in that core of, I'm guessing no more than 5,000. I mean, how many people live in Pyongyang? You know, 8,000 people. They're all his best of buddies. Everybody, those fucking buildings are empty. And it's probably getting to the point where he can't drink 7 bottles of Cristal a day and eat filet mignon flown in from fucking Kobe, Japan, and get, you know, and so he's getting scared. I mean, why MCJK? Why? And I'm sorry. Now I guess went from worm something else. I will, man. Common sense guy. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying nothing. This is not a conversation that I want to be shitting on.
But why else would it be, MC? You know more about this than all of us put together. Garen fucking teeth. Why else would he be shaking hands with South Korean president if something wasn't happening to him?
Oh, as we were saying before, all right. It's very possible that this last nuclear test, all right, killed several of his scientists, if not the majority of them, and because of the earthquake has released radiation, which China now has said we're not ignoring this anymore. China came out with a paper today, the scientific paper talking about the leaking and the destruction of their complex, all right, saying that it's very likely that it was destroyed. Well, if China is willing to release a paper saying this is what the study is, you can imagine what has actually happened. So this could very well be a delaying tactic that he's trying to utilize, all right, to give himself some more time to rebuild from where he was before. I mean, it doesn't hurt him any to delay things.
Do you think so? Do you really think so, though? Because MC, this has never happened before.
I think
since the divide, they have never shook hands like this. This is monumental. Really.
That's wrong.
They were holding hands walking upstairs. That's why I'm asking. Holy shit!
Right.
You also 3 times. They shook hands 3 times. They've had talks 3 times. They've had promise of peace.
Wait, but you mean other times in this, common sense guy? Please educate me, because I thought it was true that this just happened.
Well, there are some
the leader, Kim Jong Un or Kim Jong Il, the leader, because diplomats.
Kim Il Sung. I didn't know that any of the 3 of them had.
They've had discussions in the past, right?
But they never went and shook hands and held hands and walked up steps. I don't think that's
right. Maybe not the steps.
No, they have not the 2 leaders alone. Not
the 2 leaders by themselves walking into each other's side of Panmunjom has not taken place before. That is brand new.
Thank you.
Now that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a great photo op. All right. Secondly, Moon himself, Moon is the South Korean president.
Moon, yes,
is a hardcore leftist. Okay, and I say that from
so this was virtue signaling.
No, he this is what his party, his group, the party that's in charge right now. They want to remove the United States presence. They want us a reduction in there. They want a reunification, and they have made ridiculous comments about how dangerous North Korea is, saying, well, there's no danger to North Korea. We shouldn't even have any kind of DMZ in the past. Now, that's a lot of that's rhetoric, all right, because they're obviously he's not to that extreme, right? Well, but he has made comments about how he's not happy that we created a nuclear shield there, the anti-missile system, and that we deployed it. All right. He has said that that's provocative. Okay. So he's not necessarily, he himself, the president of South Korea is not necessarily the normal South Korean president. Now, why is that? Well, there's several reasons for it. Mainly because the previous South Korean president was so absolutely corrupt and out of her mind that the South Koreans actually got rid of her. Okay, they actually impeached her, and they're now putting her in a jail. Okay, so there are positive steps. This could be positive, all right. But why would Kim act this way? He could look at this as a great opportunity to expand his influence, including into the South. Do I think that is necessarily what's happening? I don't know. That's why I said you have to approach this cautiously, not with this over-optimistic, let's give everyone a peace prize.
Yeah, see, the thing about Moon is that he took power so recently that, to be honest, I mean, not like recently, but he took power within the last 2 years, so I don't know jack shit about him. There's no
last 2 years. I thought 40. I thought it was a lot more recently than that. Yeah, it was like 6 months ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the old prime minister got arrested just here the other day, actually. So.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember the previous prime minister being involved in this cult that was literally giving her orders about what to do behind the curtain. But I mean, the thing is that I had no
JFK
reason.
in the Catholic Church. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm sorry, 40. Go ahead. I apologize. I can do that. I'm the host.
Yeah, you forgot to pick up your conspiracies from Mole's channel. Don't forget those.
There's 2 memes in here. He's overrepresented.
Yes. We need reparations for the memes.
Overrepresented. Get the fuck out, Jew boy. It makes 3 of us. Overrepresented. Season. What were you saying, 40?
Well, I mean, what's the possibility that I don't want to say that this Moon character is going to actually actively push for reunification, but I mean, what's the chance that he truly does want us to demilitarize the parallel? I mean, that's going to put South Korea at risk, and if I had to put myself in the shoes of the average South Korean citizen, I personally wouldn't want that. I mean, they're so incredibly dependent on America in terms of just numerical and technological superiority.
It's just a good check for the moment, in my opinion, for sure.
Well, the question would be, all right, if you're going to demilitarize it, all right, then you're going to have to extend things like, okay, you can't have that mass artillery on the border. Right, so they're going to have to pull back. They're going to have to be shown to be pulling back, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, once again, these are baby steps. These are nothing more than baby steps that appear to be going in the right direction. At any point in time, at the drop of a hat, all of this could change and blow up in everybody's faces. Or it could continue to move forward. You're going to.
That was a good pun. You mean blow up in their faces like the scientists over there? A good pun. I got it. Sorry. No, that was funny. I mean, it's like a kaboom. It could blow up in their faces. But I would say that unless they have some other scientists in their back pocket, MC, they're pretty much screwed, man. I mean, you put it all together. I'm telling you, man, as soon as that fat, gout-ridden son of a gun, as soon as he doesn't get his crystal or his pate or whatever it is that he's gobbling down with both greasy, fat fucking fists, he's going to be going over there and holding hands with Moon. That's what we're seeing now. Scientists are blown up. Economically, China's putting a grip on them. Trump's been flying planes over there and shit. And then they did say that they sent some cruisers up about a year ago, but that was bullshit. They were down by anyway. In other words, we don't know what our military is doing, but they say they're doing shit. Y'all remember that story?
Oh yeah, no. Trump said our cruisers are en route, but he pointed them out in the wrong direction.
Yeah, no. He said they were in the fucking China Sea, and they weren't even. They were down a damn. Did land down under, man. They were in Oz.
Yeah, you can say that,
Fuck
but he
yeah.
also has done something that we've never done in the past, and that is we actually had one of our nuclear subs actually pop up and go into one of their naval bases.
So that's nice for them. That's good for them. But
that MC plus one last thing. When was the last time we had a president of the United States go up in front of the United Nations and basically say, we don't want to destroy you, but we will obliterate you from the planet if we need to?
I don't mind that, I guess, to say that. But I don't want to be lied to like Gulf of Tonkin, you know? Because to me, it's just one small step from saying, well, we have this flotilla of ships in the China Sea menacing at the moment, and they're really thousands of miles away. That's not cool, man. It's just one small step from saying, yep, there's bodies floating in the Gulf of Tonkin, you know?
Well, I stand by it's based on incentives. And I'm going to say the thing that I said when Kim Jong-un first started kind of fucking around. We're like, oh, how the hell do we fix this? Yeah, no. In the next 10 years, we should plan on opening a Disney World in North Korea.
Yes, you said nude, Kim Jong nude.
Well, that's scary. Maybe. I don't know.
I was just thinking about how that would be great if we could get, if we could just broadcast pictures of his fat, bloated, fucking wrinkled ass just right up there. Anyway,
he'd make a good Mickey Mouse.
He would.
I actually wrote an entire research paper on why we should leave South Korea, why U.S. forces should pull out, like back in my junior year of high school. I'm trying to find it now.
Why?
It was like,
well, my son was over there in the Air Force, and he said we should get out there because it sucked.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like we've lost lives, like the Panmunjom like, axe murders back in the 70s.
The women wouldn't put out; they were short and ugly.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just too much of the cost. It's outrageous. South Korea is paying nothing compared to what we're paying to protect them.
That's not exactly accurate.
Well, I mean, not nothing, but it's like the cost wise though, it's the disproportionate.
I think they do us better than Germany does in the end. I think the money spent. MC will correct me.
You don't like hookers and hash, Sugar? Hookers and hash. That's what my buddy was an MP and served in Germany.
Yeah, my boy.
That's what they would go out. They would go out for hookers and hash.
I'm not even gonna lie. I love my son. I'm very proud of him, but he's a teetotal and hard charge. So MC would love my boy. I'm not even kidding. Especially if he was his officer or something, because he just does what he's told. He won't tell on nobody. He's just a good kid. But that's one of the things, like hookers and hash. Fuck. I made him sit down before he even got into service because he was just itching and itching. I knew it. I made him sit down and smoke pot till he got high, which meant, I mean, he was smoking about 3 or 4 hours. You don't get high the first time you smoke. And if you want to do it in the first setting, you got to ingest a lot. So by the time it hit him, it really was. I mean, it was like Garcia's taste diversion. That boy, I guarantee he'll never look at marijuana again. He was so he's like, I'm gonna die, Dad, I'm gonna die. Like, shut up. I said, you gonna smoke some dope later? No, man. He was anyway.
Wait a second. This brings up a good point. Aside from the nuclear contamination, is the soil in North Korea fertile? Because I was
it is terrible. There's the agricultural like aspects of the country, North and South Korea. You cannot grow anything there. You can't grow shit. It's absolutely terrible. Same thing with Japan too. There's really no natural.
They do rice.
Yeah, I mean, like even rice that wasn't introduced until for let's see, like a long time. Like
do they have a lot of sunlight?
Like it's absolutely terrible though, because like the mountainous terrain of North Korea and South Korea, it just prevents anything from actually being able to be
the eastern side of the.
What's the parallel? It's 45th parallel. What is
38th? I think. Yeah.
38th. So in other words, the 45th parallel is right above. So 38th. When you think that they're behind that, they're up. Man, that would be like growing crops in somewhere above the United States Canadian line for the most part, close to it. So it's not a great place.
The South has a large plains where they can grow extensively. Now, the east side of the Korean Peninsula is very mountainous, like you were saying. All right, and the North is even more mountainous. All of that's very true. All right. They got a good amount of agriculture. They do a lot of rice farming. They have a terraced system very similar to some of the areas within Japan. The advantage that the North has is they have a tremendous amount of raw material that they can utilize. They have steel. They have rare earth minerals. They have a lot of mineral.
Yeah, but
if they can
MC, I hate to cut you off, but if China gets anything out of this deal, it will be those minerals. They won't have that, sir.
Well, I mean, the fact that they can use it to sell, and if they become international players on the international market, would be a benefit to them. At the moment, there's so many sanctions on them that the only people who they can work with is China, and that's a benefit for China to a large extent. True, but it would be interesting to see how this reunification, if a reunification does take place. But we're talking decades down the road still. I think we're not talking. No. I don't think a reunification anytime.
Are we? Because right now the world community is up in an uproar. Like, oh my God, we have peace. Unification is right around the
people would be willing to invest a lot of money in this. And actually, I'm actually a little concerned now, MC, and maybe for a different reason. So what you're saying is basically the North is rich in like a lot of like minerals and like metals and stuff like that. The South actually has sustainable enough land to help support a population. Like, they could literally become a fucking superpower, because like we've invested a lot into South Korea, so they have a lot of tech. They literally could become like an electronics manufacturer of the world, fully self-sustaining. Like, that could be competition for us, man.
It's true. It could be competition for us, but it could be even more competition for China and Japan.
Oh, would that
they already are
China out? Because China is switching over to, was it the yuan dollar or something? Sorry to cut you off, man.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I mean, I had nothing to add.
Oh,
they're already beating us, though. Like, medically, they have their medical equipments and their hospitals and things. They're actually much more advanced. I mean, if you've seen like Seoul, if any of you have ever been there, it's like you're going to some place out of like Star Wars. It's like, yeah, a weird analogy, but it's true. Dude, though. Like,
it's sweet. Dude, they have the fastest internet in the world.
It's like the buildings are spectacular. It's like when you go to like Dubai. It's like
some of them are, and some of them are shanties that you find in Mexico City. So I mean, you have some large.
MC, is that any different than some places in the U.S.?
I mean, that's just like Chicago.
Yes. No,
it's like
it's I'm telling you now, it's worse than what you're talking about.
Okay. The extremes are greater. Okay,
the extremes are very great. It's not necessarily saying that they don't have anything. Some of their medical facilities are very, very modern. Some of them, quite frankly, they have dirt on the floor. Right now, obviously South Korea is far, far and away better than anything in North Korea. Right? They have a lot of potential. The South Koreans are very industrious as a general rule. Right? So I mean, they could become a powerhouse. Right? They could become a manufacturing center without a doubt. Right?
Guys, let's come full circle on the way to cure North Korea. Let's just get them all addicted to online gaming. we let's face it, we're gonna have to rig it so Kim Jong-un wins the world championship for League of Legends once.
Opium has worked good for the yellow people though in the past.
The easiest way to take them down.
Well played,
the easiest way to take them down and keep them in check is just to send over some of our feminists. I'm sure Christy Winters would love to summer over there.
Yeah, fucking right. They don't have buns.
Oh, the gentrification of North Korea.
Yeah.
Definitely first world problems.
All right, so I mean, unless anybody else has anything else to say about North and South Korea, I do want to pivot because Common Sense Guy is here. I have that manifesto, sir. I can either try and read some of it, which usually doesn't work out because my background noise, or you can give us a quick synopsis and we can discuss that for a little bit.
Can I ask what manifesto we're talking about? It's not the communist one, I hope.
No, definitely not.
No,
not the Communist Manifesto. It's a manifesto that I wrote yesterday or I wrote yesterday, sorry, regarding a party that I'm considering making in the United Kingdom in English politics.
Are you
Liberal Britain Party.
You're talking to the future Prime Minister of the UK.
No, and 40 before you make the joke, it's not the Liberalist. All right?
Damn it!
No.
You bastard.
No, the Liberal Britain Party, or the LBP.
Yeah.
You're down with LBP? Well, you know, common sense guy.
You're down with the LBP, you're down with the CSG.
Yeah.
So what's the LBP? Do you have any foreign sponsors yet? Do you need any cash, buddy? What's the deal?
We do need cash, but unfortunately, if we were going to do anything to do with foreign cash, then we wouldn't actually be able to take any investors that are actually based outside of the United Kingdom.
Well, CSG, I think I found your first sponsor. Virtual Shield, the net's #1 VPN, can route your IP through wherever you would like. So if you need to make any campaign donations, we are not condoning this on this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking
If I ever
about.
get to over 1,000 subscribers, then I will suggest them doing that.
You could probably get send out a feeler to see if you can touch Robert Steele.
Hashtag capitalism.
But no, give a brief overview, because I think I didn't catch the beginning of the stream. I came in and talked to you guys for like 2 minutes, and I didn't. The questions I asked you already covered. So give a brief overview here, and let's let the boys on the panel here dig into it.
And
that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. What I've actually decided that I was going to do is I was going to give a brief section of what was what I wanted to do. So first of all, I did something very similar to what Sargon did, where he wrote his principles for the liberalists. Because it's a liberal movement, I wanted it to be something similar to what that was, but it's not that. I don't want to be associated with the liberalist movement, but they're more than welcome to come to us. The actual manifesto in itself, I just wanted to read verbatim what the actual mission statement is to begin with, which is: we are the Liberal Britain Party. Our goals are to stop the practice of authoritarian laws such as hate crimes. We, in essence, is policing thoughts and turning that into a crime. Or the idea that you can be arrested for being grossly offensive, then being convicted for it after all context was taken away. So obviously using the premise of Count Dankula. Basically, in this section, I wanted to prove the fact that we should take away any sort of laws that limit the person from being able to use freedom of expression, or for you Americans, freedom of speech. Because if you were to take away the person's freedom to be able to speak, then all you're doing is actually providing censorship to everybody, because eventually it will get round to it.
My first statement there would be to rewrite that first mission statement. And the reason is you don't want to come out with a negative of what you're against. You want to come out with what you're for. All right. So your first thing you want to come out is strong, saying we are for freedom of speech. We are for XYZ. Then you can put in things like this are a negative thing against freedom of speech, and we are for freedom of speach. Because if you come out just as you come out as a negative, then people are looking at that. Well, they're just, it changes the dynamic. Instead of talking about what you're for, all right, people need to know what you're for, not just what you're against, because anybody can be against a hate crime.
No, of course they can be. I suppose that would be coming under the subsection of then setting a constitution up. So we believe in having a constitution in a democratic process, and the fact of individual rights.
Right. Put that at the top. Put what you're for, what people, so you can get people to join you in a movement forward. All right, in an impression, not against.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. It's just I wanted that to be at the top because that's at the forefront of everybody's mind at the minute. So it'll gauge traction by latching onto the story of what's going on with Dankula.
MC, I kind of thought about this a little bit earlier and I had this discussion with CSG and Moz on Wednesday a little bit. Basically, what I kind of got is like my big thing is when I first heard like manifesto, the U.S. version of me, I'm like, I just cringe. I kind of think 40 may have felt like a little bit the same way there. Just when we hear that, it just has a different thing. But I guess in their aspect, that's basically the establishment of a political party. Okay, why do you establish a political party? Well, I don't know. You're either trying to make a shit ton of money or you're actually trying to fight against something. Exactly. Go ahead, man.
No, a manifesto is meant to be the promises to the intentions.
Yes.
A manifesto is what?
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that is what you're ending to do.
Cabbage, what has happened to you and your internet again?
Nothing. It's working fine now. No, sorry, I just came off another stream. So I don't know.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been a bit weird. It kept dumping people out.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
as Cabbage has literally just said, that's exactly what I've put down. It is a list of what our intentions are, subsections by setting up a constitution, actually creating a proper True Equalities Act, finding out what we can do about national services, i.e. police, NHS, fire services, and the Royal National Lifeguard as well. What we can do to change that, benefits and social netting, what we can do to change that, education, the crime and prison policies that are going on at the minute, immigration policies and Brexit policy.
Basically, a reason for why the Liberal British Party.
The comment.
Well, you can do that though, but your mission statement still should be positive. It still should be focused on a positive overall, overarching, just as a generic thing. And then what you can do is later on list grievances. Come up with a list of grievances that you current or a list of problems that need to be resolved that you see, like a list of grievances or a list of areas where you're identifying points.
I do understand your point. It's just the fact that the mission statement.
That's the point. That's what I.
The thing is that I wanted to actually say is that the mission statement in itself is actually to just about what is about eight lines, a small paragraph. It's to point out to the fact that we do believe in the freedom of speech, and we wanted to point out the ludicrousy of the fucking government that's already in charge. That's the reason why we put it down.
We're arguing over the order at the moment, and to be fair, like if from at least an American perspective, I'm unsure about the UK perspective. But if you're looking long term, a positive message always wins out. At least from just my experience.
I understand. It's just that I wanted to draw people in by the actual fact of realizing that we are for freedom of speech and explaining a situation that's gone on where we can draw from those experiences and actually say, no, this is absolutely shit, and we don't want this to fucking stand. And you can then take from that our principles and what our morals are and realize that we want to stand for freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
So you're just bringing attention to something.
Common sense. Can I ask you something sort of a broader issue? Brexit and things. We're at a time where we really need to be cohesive on a get out of Europe principle. I'm not sure this
Cabbage.
Best thing to be having another division.
Beep bop boop 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 doop.
Cabbage, I can't hear you properly, my friend. But if I quickly just read you what the policy is that I think for Brexit, you'll understand that I actually incorporate everybody in the fact of the policy. Moving on to the idea of Brexit, we at the LBP party believe in the power of democracy, meaning that a vote was taken by the people for the people to decide if they wanted to remain or leave the EU. The people voted to leave the EU, so we should leave the EU, not just in name, but by being part of the customs union or the single market. This doesn't mean that we don't want to trade with the EU. It means that we as the UK want to trade with the whole of the world, not just the EU. A lot of people think we don't want to trade with the EU. We do. They are our biggest trading partners. We do not want them dictating laws to us, though. We just want to trade with you and be your allies. This doesn't mean following laws of other countries just to be able to trade with them. How can we have our own laws, our own sovereignty, our own constitution? Let us be clear. We believe in the people for the country leading themselves, not being led by people unelected by the people of another country.
A little jab at the EU there. That's quite nice.
Yeah, I thought you were pulling your punches at the EU a little bit, though. Ally? When were you ever allies with France? Give me a fucking break.
Well, that's the point, though. It's the case that we're trading allies. It doesn't need to mean to think that we politically are agreed on everything. It's the point that we agree on trading, and that's the point that I wanted to bring up with Brexit.
They've joined the French several times. World War One, World War Two.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, those are circumstantial. I mean, come on, MC.
Context matters.
No, context does matter. Britain joined. Was it World War One? Not on the side of France, but on the side of fucking Belgium when it got invaded, or was that World War Two? I don't remember. But
wait, what are we talking about?
The Belgians. The British said if the Belgians were invaded, that they would go to war with Germany. Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
why the fuck are the
so
UK
it had
Belgium
nothing to do with France.
No.
Wait, does NATO fall apart?
Dude, we went to the way back machine again. Sorry,
has NATO fallen apart? It's getting very close.
Yeah, very close.
It's a lot closer than people realize because of two big things. Not the least. The first one is Turkey. Turkey is straining the entire organization because of how it's acting within the EU and the threats that it's actually doing with its quote-unquote NATO allies. And of course, the other part is the U.S. is insistent that the NATO countries meet their monetary obligations. And there are countries that are not prepared to do that, and Germany is probably the biggest.
Why would that be?
Because they don't want to spend their money on their defense systems. They'd rather just let the United States protect them.
Well, yeah, that's cheaper.
Yeah, screw them.
Wait. We're asking them to do something?
Trump isn't asking. Trump has stopped the asking part and has gone to, you will do this or else.
Well, to be fair, CSG did say the other day, Donald Trump has broken many things.
Yes, he has. But to quickly go on to that point, Trump hasn't said, we will stop doing this if you stop doing that. He said, we will stop funding for protecting you if you can't protect yourselves. But that's literally all he did in that point.
Wait, then folks would be terrified of Putin because Putin's the other side. Oh, okay, I get it now.
There you go. You got there in the end.
If I can just say, I mean, don't get me wrong, common sense guy. I love where you're going with this, and I think it's a step in the right direction. And to be quite honest, I would much rather support you over Sargon, because, well, it would take a while to explain, but in layman's terms, you don't have the baggage that Sargon is carrying to some degree. But I mean, I haven't read this whole thing yet, but and maybe this is just me kind of blowing my load a little too early, but if you are thinking of going forward, with this in a legitimate sense, then I would ask you to keep in mind that there are some hills to die on, and there are some hills to not die on, and that there are stances that maybe you should lean more towards the populist side, like in terms of free speech, for instance, and economic freedom. You know, you guys can't even fish the waters surrounding the UK. Why would you be able? I'm sure you're just fine with that. But there are tons of people that would support you on the right. But then again, how many people on the center left do you need to sway over to your party? How many bones are you going to have to throw over to them? And I understand that there are principled arguments to be made.
Well, but remember, 40. Their system is different than ours. They can become a player without being a majority in any way, shape, or form within that nation.
Well, it's true. Well, UKIP proved that point. But this is my problem: is this the time to be doing it? Because, you know, we're currently looking at Brexit, and we need unity in order to achieve that. And the last thing we need is dilution of that commitment. You know, if we have all of these additional parties suddenly appear, then it's possible that they could be utilized as a way of, you know, not having because don't forget, we do work, first past the post. You know, I mean, if it was another referendum, then it would still be non-partisan. But I just think it muddies the waters at this time. I'm not sure.
Does it muddy it, or does it make it more symbiotic?
Well,
I would agree with
that's-
Cabbage.
Well, no, just a second. Ryan's the new guy here. Let's let him at least talk on his first appearance.
Yeah, I would say that definitely by adding more political parties, these very fresh off the boat, essentially, these parties that haven't really been established, by adding them into the equation, it really just muddies the water essentially. It does, even though it is much easier for small political parties to work their way up through the ranks, like UKIP did in the United Kingdom. It's still it's really distracting for a lot of voters, I think, and it's even harder for voters to actually decide on which party.
Isn't that the point?
Well, it's you're
not when it comes to Brexit.
If you want to gather votes,
nobody's
that's
saying anything different on Brexit.
but you want to have a unified party around a central issue, which, if there's many political parties, it just becomes less and less likely that you're actually going to get something done.
Look,
how about you?
Common sense. I believe what you're saying, and I think it's spot on. I'm just questioning the timing. That's all. Like, is this the appropriate time? I'd rather see Brexit through and then have it come into play. When have it come into play.
Timing, Cabbage. When would be the perfect time?
Well, once we've got Brexit and we've seen it through, and we actually got a fucking, the deal or no deal, who gives a shit, right? As long as we're the hell out and we don't end up with the second referendum or whatever. Now, if you would like to, work towards avoiding a separate, second referendum and things like that, of course, more strength to you. Ditching this idea that it's, a pick and mix bullshit.
Well,
then yes, I totally agree with you.
I've already said that.
He's proposing this on at a time period where he's talking about starting something up and building it in the grassroots manner. At this point in time, I don't think it interferes, or would, at least initially, at least months down the road, would it be any kind of interference in how the party is actually work.
No.
I will admit that I am making these statements without being fully understanding, right, and cognizant of how British politics actually plays out and works.
I'd say it's a great time to be developing something for when Brexit happens, but I'm not sure that it would be. It's as productive necessarily, during the Brexit exit strategy.
Well,
that's my only point. That's my only point. I think everything else is sound. I listened to what you said, and everything I agreed with, mate. There wasn't a single point that you made that I didn't agree with. There really wasn't.
Can I just make a quick counterpoint? I'm not actually suggesting that I change anything to do with Brexit. The point of the manifesto, inverted air quotes, is to be able to let the voters, the voter and the citizenry know what my position is on that issue. That doesn't mean that I would be fighting for that issue, because the Conservatives are already doing that. I don't need to fight for that issue until I see that there is something completely different, or they've gone on against their word. It's the fact that the votership knows what I mean and what I want in that situation, and I can draw on that as saying I've already written it down. Here's what my position is.
But you can do that as an independent right now, anytime. You can register as an independent and you can stand.
Yes, I know that, but why would I not want to make a party, and instead of running as an independent and only working at a small local area, maybe actually making an actual difference and getting into Parliament and actually changing Parliament in itself?
Couldn't you just do a coalition of independents?
No, because then no independent is allowed to actually form a government.
Well, it's not forming, but you're voting in a particular way. If you just rally about folks that are Labour or Tory over free speech or something, like that could just be the issue that they happen to agree upon.
How would you get everybody in the country to vote for an independent in every county?
You present a good idea.
So why?
No, and the thing is,
hang on just a second, please. If you can get everybody to actually do that and run as an independent and be able to get everybody to do that under one banner, why would you not make that banner a party banner?
Because then the party naturally gets corrupt because it has more power.
No, it's the same idea in principle, running as independents.
Well, isn't it just kind of like a guild system or something? Kind of like if you have like a bunch of fishermen voting on something, or like a bunch of like bankers voting on something, or communications companies voting on something, you have representatives from there. They might be of either party, but on those particular issues, their position is X.
Exactly.
No,
The fact
no,
they
no, 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 no,
believe in everything.
the reason
An
why
independent
is because
doesn't
if you-
have to agree on everything.
Yes, exactly.
be
Nor
on
does a party. A party doesn't have to agree on
individual
everything.
topic and individual.
The
Well,
party
no,
doesn't
that's
have
a difference because when you have a party, you have a party whip, and the whip can decide how, right? That you can end up with a whip vote. And so the people will come into line under a party system. If it's independent, then the people can actually say, well, they'll vote autonomously. You remember Martin Bell, right? He achieved a lot.
Well, and the other thing is
You
that
remember Martin Bell?
No.
Well, he's an independent parliamentarian. He was an ex-journalist who went into politics. I mean, you must know him in common, right?
to be fair, my friend, I can't actually hear you.
Quantity, he's independent.
I can't hear you
Well,
properly.
Martin Bell. I don't know what's happening. Anyone
You're
else?
breaking up really bad, Cabbage, again. You really are.
Been hearing problem?
Okay, I do
Really?
want to just point out.
It's just,
I do want to point out, though, to be fair, from an American perspective, I envy you bastards. You could create your own party and have some fucking sway. The Libertarian Party's been around since '77, and it hasn't fucking done dog shit. And I really am kind of jealous.
That's because the Libertarian Party is nothing but fleas. It's not even a
Fuck off,
dog.
MC. Fuck off, MC. Those are fighting words around here.
It's the same thing with our Liberal Democrats. Our Liberal Democrats are supposed to be standing for the ideas of what a proper, true libertarian is supposed to stand for. And they're not standing for libertarian views. They're more so of a dogmatic left position with some sort of issues of thinking that maybe NHS policy is going to be different. But generally, they don't stand for libertarian issues. That's why I wanted to create an actual libertarian party. That's the reason why I wanted to do this, and that's the reason why I did a manifesto. Just so everybody actually knows, this only took me a day to write. This is only a day in the process of thinking.
Is this actually similar to like other like UK established parties? Like, is this actually like similar to what they have, or?
As I just said, it's literally just a day. I've only just written a manifesto. I do not have a hierarchy set up in place. I do not have a leadership idea set up in place. I have literally only set up the idea of being able to run as a party.
Oh, just keep it as bare bones as possible and just call it the fucking Independence Party or stuff like that. So you would be as independent as possible, but still be a party.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, I mean, let's
That
face
would
it,
make sense.
the conservative government isn't going to actually go forward with Brexit anytime soon. I mean, at the rate that Theresa May is going forward with this,
It's never
Brexit
gonna
isn't
happen.
going to happen. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Not in a million years. If Theresa May was government from here to eternity, it would still never happen.
Yeah.
So the perfect thing is that you are in a position where you have some time to build up clout for your party, gain seats, gain local power, and work your way up from there, which is absolutely excellent. To be honest, I kind of have to disagree. I think the timing is actually good due to the fact that you can build up clout. You can, I don't necessarily want to say appeal to populism to some degree, but you can build up trust with anyone that's wanting to vote for your party. And that's a good thing because no one wants Corbyn, obviously. No one wants Corbyn. Otherwise, Corbyn would be PM. Also, Theresa May has fucked up.
Students.
Well, no, but there's a small radical base in favor of Corbyn, but Theresa May is prime minister, and Theresa May is screwing up big time. She's not going forward with Brexit, something that won the vote in your country. Yeah, and she's enacting stupid laws like fox hunting for whichever which reason, really. So, I mean, this is perfect time. I mean, you could go forward and say, listen, Labor's failed us, the Conservatives have failed us. We need another powerful party that represents the people, and this is the most excellent opportunity for you to come forward with something like this.
I agree.
But that's what UKIP did. Yeah, that's how we ended up with Brexit, with UKIP, because it was the right place at the right time.
Well, also, unlike UKIP, you have a stance other than we need to get out of the European Union.
Yeah, that's a good point, because UKIP was a one policy party. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, UKIP, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Nigel Farage. I love him so much. Such a beautiful human. Mwah, perfection. But
I wouldn't go that far. Jesus.
Well, he's pretty damn funny, don't get me wrong.
I'm just going to be brutally honest right here and say I'm going to be the dissenting opinion. I think it is the worst possible idea to start a new political party, whether it's a right-wing party, a libertarian kind of party, either way. So basically, here's what I suggest. Drop the manifesto completely. What you want to do is get some your friends together, or get other people that are interested in politics in your local area, and you want to infiltrate the current power structure of the Tory or the UKIP party. And from there, you want to meddle within the inner workings of the party by befriending people or proposing new ideas and things like that to try and shift it in your favor, whether it's policy-wise. What? Oh, yes, I am American.
Can I just?
But I mean, this would apply too. This would apply too.
One thing. I can just quickly say one thing. David Cameron tried to do that with the European Union. It didn't go well. It fucked him in the ass, and he lost power over it. Probably not.
Yeah, but don't forget, he was pro-Europe anyway.
Side.
He was pro-Europe to begin with, so he didn't really have the commitment to making it happen anyway.
He was trying to make things well for all of Europe rather than just his nation.
Yeah, he had no interest. Yeah, and the same thing with Theresa May. She was a Remainer. She didn't want to leave Europe, and yet she's meant to lead us, out of Europe. I mean, the whole thing's totally fucking, topsy-turvy.
Well, I think this completely strays from my point, but what I'm really trying to say is you want to meddle within the inner frameworks of these political parties. You want to try and influence the low-level bureaucrats or the assistants of local party officials, or there has to be local chapters of UKIP.
Right. I'm getting the feeling like UK politics might be a lot different, just because I had some of these discussions, and just the sheer fact that I do hear from a lot of, if there were any more British folks out there that could maybe give us some insight, it just seems to be a very different based system. And understand what you're saying over here, and I almost really don't know why. It's almost just like the current zeitgeist and everything that we have in our country, because there have to have been times in the America's past where we've had multiple parties and stuff. It's just the parties themselves have engineered themselves into just such juggernauts that nobody. It's like an oligopoly or something.
No, you did have that, and it was the corporations that
Wait a second. Isn't the DNC a private corporation?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is the RNC a private corporation?
Yep.
Aren't they monopolies or oligopolies?
Duopolies.
Aren't there are there laws against that?
If you go back, if you go back before the 1920s,
but it's a private company. That's how they were able to get off without influencing the election.
They're a private organization. They are not a company.
I would like to go back real quick though.
Yeah, they're an organization.
Ryan, I would like to go back real quick though. Ryan, that didn't work for Ron Paul to infiltrate the Republican Party, and it sure as hell isn't working for Rand. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that.
He has name recognition. He has name recognition. Something you have to give to him. People like him. Whether or not he's actually able to get into office, that's another story. But people still. He still has a lot of name credits, and people like him either way.
The United States has initially the idea was that we wouldn't have multiple parties.
A second, MC. I want to respond. Rand isn't. He is a senator, and he's probably going to be reelected. So yeah, he's holding his senator post. He has people like Justin Amash, Thomas Massey backing him in the House, and also a few people in the Senate. But he has to work back and forth with the Democrats and the Republicans that hate him. And he's not really gaining anything. He's not stopping the drone strikes. He's not ending the surveillance state. He is just filibustering every chance the poor guy gets a chance to. God bless him. Right. But son of a bitch, it's not working.
Yeah, that's why we need more people like Ron and Rand Paul in other states.
Ron Paul was actually shunned by his own party. That's why he didn't get to, you know,
Right.
participate in the debates in the same way as Bernie got shunned by the DNC, right?
Yeah.
The
People thought
party
he was
that-
Bernie was never in the DNC, so you can't compare that, to be honest.
Oh, I thought he was.
I
Right.
respond from the English point of view and the fact of why this actually wouldn't work in general. The fact is that if I myself was going to get a group of friends that all have political different leanings and political points of view anyway, it wouldn't matter how many of us on a local level would influence the local elections. It would not change anything in the base of the party. No matter how many people that we tried to influence, no matter how many people we tried to befriend, it would not change anything. The only way that change is implemented is by forcing the change. And by forcing the change, you have to create a banner to be able to lead under. If you don't have the banner to lead under, your voices are going under the carpet and under the radar, so to speak. And people will think that you're disingenuous because you're in a party that you don't even fucking believe in. So I'd rather fight for something I believe in and lose than try and fight for something I don't believe in and possibly win.
Yeah, I understand
respect
that
that.
comment, because you have those people who walk across the aisle, you know, the ones who move from Labour to Conservative, or, you know, from the Social Democrats over to the Labour Party. And it does
Johnny
look
did it.
so disingenuous.
Dragon energy.
No, all right, Cabbage, in our history, all right, it has nothing to do with corporations or anything else. All
Yes,
right?
it does.
Wait, what?
In our history, we've always had a two-party system for the most part. The only
Not-
time we did
Well,
the only time we did not, the only
the
time
Democratic Party even split
we
in
had
two.
a
So you had Green,
two-party-
you had the Whigs.
you
Let
had
him speak.
Whigs.
Let him speak.
Initially, you had Whigs and Democrats, and that was established. All right, almost immediately. You've had parties ever since George Washington. George Washington was the first president who didn't have a party assigned to him.
Well, he was the first president.
Yes.
Okay, you had but MC, you
No,
had the
you had
Democratic Republicans, you had Thomas Jefferson, and you had the Whigs, you had the Hamiltonians.
You had
Yes.
Democrats and you had Whigs. Now
Well-
later on,
They were Democratic Republicans, and
Right.
that
They were
is a
not-
totally different term. Get the term right. Yes, that's what
all
they
right,
were called.
okay, they were called Democrat Republicans. When did the Democrat Republicans disappear? When the
Jackson.
Democrat Republicans dropped the Republican part out of their party platform. No other time. They've been Democrats the entire time. It's part of the Democrat Party. Now their policies have shifted. Their policies have shifted several different times. All right, just like the Republican Party has shifted several different times. You only had a major change due to abolition, where the Republican parties were able to cause two splits. One, they basically caused a split in the Whig Party, but even more so is during the election they split the Democrats. All right, where half were voting on one guy and one half was voting on another guy, and as a result, they stood up there and won the presidency. Now, the other part about that, however, is that they started as a grassroots. You had Republicans in Congress being elected in Congress as Republicans. There's nothing that says you have to have two parties. It's just how the structure of our government functions that leads to this as a natural consequence.
I wouldn't say natural.
I believe
would
it's not.
say-
Thank
Well,
you,
it's-
Cabbage.
it's
It's not
not
natural.
It is a natural consequence.
No, it's a
Yeah,
rig.
I don't think it is.
It's not
It's a
rigged.
rig fucking
You guys are
consequence.
just
Give
making
me a fucking break.
excuses.
You won't let me on the. You won't let us on the fuck.
You're making an
Debate.
excuse for how unpopular you
When was the
are.
last
If it
time
was
a third
not-
party
This
was
was
in
so
the national
goddamn
debate?
good. You would ask me.
Oh, no, not
Sorry.
Brandon. It was
Welcome to
fucking.
Redeye.
God damn it, MC. Fuck you.
You show me how popular you
He's
are.
having
You
a
guys
apocalypse.
constantly talk
See,
about going
listen
out
it.
there and
Hey, listen,
nationalizing everything.
shouting doesn't improve your argument.
Wait,
No,
what
at
are we
the end of it,
arguing
when you
about?
say something,
Wait,
something's
Cabbage,
meant to be
did you-
natural.
Wait a minute, Cabbage. Did you just say
I know.
that? Yeah. Shut up, Cabbage.
I know. Yeah,
What?
no, but I was saying that the idea that the natural state, either or, that's not the case. People have lots of opinions and lots of perspectives, and the idea that you end up with two states, two options as the natural state is ridiculous.
You
The
have
natural
a
state will be to have 3 or 4 or whatever. Looking at the natural state, look at things like proportional representation. There's where you actually see, you know,
We
representation
didn't want
of people's
straight
views and stuff.
proportional representation.
Well,
Our
no, and
government
I don't
isn't
want it either.
structured a lot. Is not structured that way.
Yeah,
The
I
structure
don't
of our
want proportional.
republic
I
lends
don't
toward
want
the
pure.
fact that you're going to end up with two
Exactly.
parties. That's just the structure. that
Which
is
makes it
a
not natural.
consequence.
It's structured. Exactly. It is not natural.
Now,
It is
if you allowed other voices to debate in a free and open way, like I don't know, the presidential debate, when there are multiple parties that do gain millions of votes, I don't see how it is a natural occurrence that two parties control not only the debate commission but the debates themselves. They allow who gets to go in and who gets to leave. They control the rules and they leave people out. That is a fact, sir.
The media controls the rules, not the parties. The media controls the rules, and
You're full
all
of
you want to
shit.
do is
You're full
complain
of
about the
shit
fact
right there.
that you
Nope,
guys
that's where you
had,
fucked up.
you had the power.
Pull that out your ass.
No, wait a minute. You're full of shit. That's why there's a
it isn't just that. If you had the power behind it, if you guys were viable, if you had created a viable standard, you don't have
they
a
sued the
viable
Democrats
party.
and the Republicans, dude.
You don't
they didn't sue
have
the media.
Redeye.
They didn't
It
sue
doesn't
CNN.
change the fact
They
that
sued, dude. Shut
Wait.
up.
Is this news? Is this fake news? Or is this just human id
Blood
coming out
wars.
right now? So let's I will shot. But no. So what's the oh my God! Somebody is torturing your child.
God, what the fuck is that noise?
Please stop! Oh my God!
This is
Don't
what you
step on the
guys
duck,
sound like. That's what you guys sound like. That was a fucking deer. Like
What?
you and MC and fucking.
Don't hurt animals, please.
And it was a deer screaming. I'm sorry.
No, she held a point. She has a point. I mean, the entire time, all I heard was, you know, it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it is.
Let's calm down, just a shred.
Everyone is screaming and nothing is getting done.
So political parties. The question was, does it tend?
Cabbage, shut the fuck up for one hot second. I'll play the deer again. Don't make me play the deer again.
Please don't make her play the deer. But, no. Okay, so do political parties tend to be just at a natural duality? Okay, we're arguing about it. Let's take a look at the American system, which we're discussing at this current moment. Basically, you have parties. In order to get elected, you need a majority vote. So we have a vote. If you have two parties, all right, somebody's going to get more than 50%. If you have three parties, somebody still might, but there's a chance it could go down. And the more parties you add, the less chance. So it seems like what we've done is we've set up a voting system. So, okay, well, we need really any more real choices, and it might be really confusing and everything. We might have to do this again. Mm-hmm. So that sounds like a lot of work. So we're just going to go with this. Plus, if you just have any standard of institutional power at all, and the system is working for you, you're going to want to perpetuate that because it's helping you. Hey, I mean, that's human self-interest right there.
Well, so the extra level of complication you put in was the electoral college, right? You had the electoral college.
Yes, that is a big thing. However, there could be a potential solution. Again, this needs to be more thought out. So what happens if nobody gets less than it? Don't you usually go to like a redo or something like that? That happens in states sometimes. So what I'm saying is, why don't we do it kind of like Europe, where they have like a preliminary for the parties, and then you actually have like the folks that are running.
Tyranny of the majority, then. That's why we don't do it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that in a representative way. No, I'm not saying direct. But no, basically what I'm saying is we still have the other parties. It's just
the parties exist. There's nothing that sits up there. The Libertarian Party exists. Yeah. The problem the Libertarian Party
like
has
multiple rounds of voting or something.
But the problem with the Libertarian Party is that they don't have any grassroots. They don't have any power. We've constantly had third parties throughout the United States, all right, where they just become small little players, but they never actually grow. It's very rare that they grow out of even any kind of regional base. For the Libertarian Party, my problem with the Libertarian Party has always been the same thing. They have never, ever attempted to go into any kind of serious mode to create any kind of regional power base to build from. If they want to be taken seriously, then they have to start winning elections, even if it's dog catcher.
So okay, to be fair, okay, that's fair. No, that actually is a very fair point.
Well, no, that's not true, because there was fucking, the CNN was going nuts about all of these the libertarian, when the Tea Party happened, they were getting a lot of positions.
Boris Johnson, would it have had the same as result?
Well, no, I mean the thing is, Cabbage, is that you can't just stand on a hill and proclaim yourself to be king, right? You have to have supporters, and the libertarians have no supporters.
Yes, but I mean, when you create a base, surely a position,
4%,
4% a governmental
of the whole
position.
United States is zero supporters.
Oh, forgive
zero.
me.
That's none. That's none. Yep.
Lay 4%. That 4%.
What are you talking about? Do you know what the population in the United States is? That 4% is a large fucking number.
That's only 4% of the voting population. It was considerably less.
That's millions of people.
Oh, to be fair, Gary Johnson. Oh my God, I think I said Boris Johnson before. Is it bad that I replaced Gary Johnson?
You did say Boris Johnson.
Okay, no, but hey, stupid as stupid does. But if Gary Johnson for the last debate, which was a CNN debate, in CNN's own poll, he was at 15%, which was the bomb threshold. Yet he was not in the debate. I was curious about that.
Before everybody carries on, can I just say thank you very much, Mad Dodge, for letting me on. As you lot are now moving on to American politics, it's probably not good for me to actually stay because I don't know too much about American politics. So thank you very much, and I'll
common sense guy. Can you throw something in the link so I can at least DM you on Twitter? Because I want to create some suggestions for your manifesto and see what you think about them.
Sure, just follow me, my friend. My messages are always open. Just follow me on Twitter.
Hey, Common, by the way, I'm not trying to, poo-poo any ideas or whatever. I'm just, like I said, my only concern, the current year, the situation we're in. But
don't we hate that argument?
I know, I will have to flail myself later. But I don't know. But then again, you wouldn't be doing anything different than the people who vote for you would vote for the referendum, so that would make it non-partisan, so it wouldn't matter what your party was called in. So,
no worries. To be fair, I haven't got any sort of ill will towards anybody. I ain't got no ill will towards anybody. I come on this stream particularly because I asked Mad Dodge. I wanted to be grilled by people that I respect, because a lot of you are very, very intelligent. That's not me trying to kiss fucking ass with any cunts either. It's a case that I wanted to be fucking scrutinized by people that understood what was going on and understood politics. That's the reason why I come on. I want to be scrutinized. So thank you very much.
I appreciate your intent, and I hope it works out. My only issue is timing, but maybe I'm being overly sensitive.
That's not a problem. Thank you very much for all your guys' opinions, and I'll see you all again soon.
Yep, absolutely, Common Sense Guy. Oh, see, Common Sense Guy leaves, the babies cry. God damn it.
Would you stop slaughtering your fucking... What do you do to these poor children?
Wait, MD, so what you're saying is CSG is the world's largest teddy bear. I don't know if he's the world's largest teddy bear. I'm sure that one's pretty big.
That's a weird cut.
Anyway,
Wolfie, how have you been, girl?
Huh? What?
Hey, Wolfie, how's she been? Long time no sees.
I've been good. Working.
Yeah.
What type of strain are you on tonight?
I don't fucking know, dude.
I got a little Gorilla Glue.
Oh.
All right, but no, what I was trying to say, MC, when you kept cutting me off and we sounded like a deer getting fucking its ankle slit or some shit, it wasn't the media, sir. It was not the media, because they would have sued the media that let them out of the debates.
Hold on.
It was the RNC and the DNC. The Libertarian Party sued and won. If they are above the threshold, they cannot be let out of the next debate in 2020. Not that it matters.
Guys, what are we
There's peace in Korea. Well, we were talking we were talking with Common Sense Guy, but we scared him off about his manifesto about starting a new Libertarian Party.
But MC, Madoj, it was also about the idea that it was a natural state. Well, if you look at the majority of countries around the world, the natural state in terms of politics is not a two-party system. The majority of countries around Europe, around, well, the rest of the world.
Well,
now, you
yeah.
could say that's a socialist idea that, you know, you end up with more than one party. But you can't claim that it's a natural state if everyone else is doing something different and you're doing
You're
exception.
misunderstanding what I mean when I say natural state of things. I'm talking
Well,
about
It's
the
a
natural
rigged
consequence.
It's rigged by the
Natural state is a
DNC and
fairly
our
It's a
self-explanatory
natural
thing.
consequence of how our government was structured under
It's
the
a natural
Constitution.
consequence of giving two parties too much power.
No,
And they
it's
get
not
to
a
control
natural
the game.
state, though,
They
because the
they
same thing happened.
gerrymander
The
districts.
structure of our
They
government
lock
is
you out of the
so
debate.
different than
They control the whole
everybody else's government that this is what happened. And this was before corporations. This is long before you had anything like this within the power structure. You cannot
Oh, no.
look at our history and sit up there and say that this is a consequence, all right, of anything except for the fact of how our government is structured and how different it is than the rest of the world.
Okay, the kid in the blue would like to say something.
Oh, is that me? Okay. I find it interesting that no one has brought up the presidential election of 1992 with Clinton, Perot, and Bush, because that was, if it was inherently like a two-party system, that election would not have been possible, because Bill Clinton didn't even get a majority of votes. He only got like 45%. Let's say 43% actually, when Bush got 37.4 and Perot got 18.9%. So 18.9% is huge when you really think about it, even though he didn't win any electoral votes.
Oh, he almost cracked 20.
Yeah, I mean that's huge.
The reason I didn't bring up Perot, right?
Because it was inconvenient.
Hold on.
It's not because it's
hold on.
inconvenient.
Is Perot a libertarian? Because I thought he was Green Party.
No.
I don't know what party he was. Was he like a popular or not
He was
populist?
an independent.
Yeah, he was.
I thought it was Green. I can't fucking.
No, I can't.
I got the.
No, he wasn't green, but he did build all the
I'm trying to think of the name of the party.
Can we let the kid with the blue jacket talk?
Let's see, I'm trying to see what party he was part of.
I've never
Reform
seen
Party. Reform Party, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yes.
Another party, a third party.
The Reform Party under Perot was basically financed by Perot himself. Okay.
Yeah. And he made a lot of money out of renewable energy. He built all the wind turbines.
Perot himself, though, because of how his antics were, submarined any chance he had of actually gaining an actual state or two. All right,
but
because
he had millions of votes.
He was in it, and then he said, "No, I'm out of it," and then he was in it again, and then he said that.
Yeah, but MC, you've got to agree that is a lot of votes.
Was he actually in, or did he?
19%.
He was actually
pull a fucking 10% out of his.
He was actually around 30, hovering around 30% when he jumped out the first time.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a natural state.
And he's historically Republican, by the way, guys.
The Reform Party also actually did win elections, all right, temporarily. In fact, Jesse Ventura became the governor of the state of Minnesota on the Reform Party ticket.
Yeah. So you can have three parties. So it's not a natural state then.
I didn't
when
say
people
that.
are offered an option. You called it a natural state.
See, that's nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about, Cabbage.
It was your words. I know what I know. What I hear.
Words, and I'm going to explain it to you. Because
if you guys don't stop yelling, I'm going to play the deer again.
When a third party,
go on, do it. Seriously, he's going to lose it.
When a third party rises in the United States, what happens is their policies get co-opted by one or both of the other parties. This becomes problematic, all right, for starting a third party and making it viable. If a third party becomes powerful enough, then it will supplant one of the other two, all right? You'll still end up with a two-party system, regardless of – it's not saying that a third party can't come in. It's saying that it's very difficult to come in because of how the other parties will abscond with their viewpoints or their policies. All right, to say that that's not a natural consequence of the structure of our government belies the fact that we're the only government that it happens in, Cabbage.
Excuse me, if it was natural, it wouldn't require a structural process. It would happen naturally. I mean, that's the whole point of natural. It would be
You and I are arguing semantics about what is natural, Cabbage. You're approaching it from an English point of view of natural, and that's not what I'm referring to.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just using the actual words. I'm sorry. Yeah, I when you say natural, I actually think you mean natural, but I don't know what your version of natural is. Apparently, it's.
Did you know that Ross Perot was a billionaire?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Oh yeah.
He
made a fortune out of the.
He's Donald Trump 1.0.
He was a billionaire back in the 80s.
Like, I didn't realize he was further. He was for the Republican Party. He was a part of the Republican Party until he wanted to run.
He was a libertarian green, more or less.
Okay, what I just put in the group chat was a picture. So it shows all the different parties that were going around at the time of the 1992 election. So we have the Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Populist, New Alliance.
I don't want to request access, motherfucker.
Oh, do I have to do that? Sorry. Well, I'll just read it off. But New Alliance, U.S. taxpayers, natural law, peace and freedom, economic recovery, and socialist workers. So let's go down the line. The Libertarian Party got over 250,000 votes. The Populist Party got over 100,000 votes. The New Alliance Party, 73,000. U.S. taxpayers, 43,000. Natural Law Party, 39,000. Peace and Freedom, 27,000. Economic Recovery, 26,000. And Socialist Workers, 23,000. So you have to admit, though, that those parties, despite being as small as they are, like 30,000 votes and even 100,000 votes, that has a lot of influence on the grand scheme of things. If Ross Perot wasn't in the election, George Bush would have won. That's like, that's a fact.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a fact. It's a possibility.
I mean, either way, regardless of policy.
Wait. No, it is a fact.
Influence.
It is a fact because Ross Perot took away votes from George Bush, if I remember correctly.
Well, the question
is, that argument. You took votes away from this guy. No, he earned his votes.
Whatever.
That's not the point.
I like that.
Scrotum. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
That's good. That is good.
But you understood. But he understood what I meant.
I understand what you mean, and I don't necessarily agree with it or ignore it. All right. I'm just saying that it's impossible to actually know how people were going to vote. All we know is how people did vote. Okay, so yes, many more Republicans than Democrats voted for Ross Perot. So you could look at it from that standpoint and say, well, obviously Ross Perot was, influenced the Republicans more than a Democrat.
I want to know what Ross Perot had to do to get that there, though, because I understand
his family had oil.
That's the highest number.
I thought he sold a lot of gas.
Drilling, and it was they make drilling bits and stuff like that.
No, I mean, how did he get all the votes? Like,
the votes just by being a fucking honest person.
Sharks on stage.
No, what he did is he funded.
He got Kanye West.
Yeah, but what's the difference between him and Gary Johnson? Is I guess.
All right, the difference the difference is the stage. Okay, and back in when Ross Perot became popular, there were only the big three networks, and he purchased airtime on those big three networks and was able to get his message out because he could do that to a much broader scale of the populace. Nowadays,
hang on, why was he? Why did he have more access to TV than anyone else?
I can tell you why. I can tell you why. Can I rebut this? Because they allowed him on the debate. And that is why the Libertarian Party sued and won and will be
long before that debate.
MC, let him fucking finish, man.
He's just going to go back to the same thing and says that the debate did it and that somehow the Republicans...
Well, you don't tell me it didn't. You just told me that Perot had the stage and that got him to more votes.
Don't make me play
because the stage was different.
But Gary Johnson got how many votes without the stage? And you're telling me the stage doesn't count? You just told me it did.
No, the stage is...
You're talking out both sides of your mouth on this one.
I did not say that the stage did not count. I've never said that.
He's not saying it's a direct equation out, but what he's saying is basically if you had a Perot-like figure, like in today's modern zeitgeist, would it be a viable candidate?
Well, you mean
tell me a Gary Johnson without what is Aleppo and sticking out his tongue and looking stoned all the time would not, with his actual arguments, been.
Yeah, but isn't that a typical libertarian? Am I wrong?
No, you are wrong.
Am I wrong?
No, you want to see the typical libertarian? Look at Austin Peterson running in Missouri.
And what's he running as?
He's trying to influence. He's trying to
asked you
infiltrate
a
the
question.
Republican
What's
Party.
he running
The
as?
Republican Party.
Okay,
Ryan's
so this goes
point
back to
was
exactly
valid.
what
That's
I've been
Austin
trying to
Peterson's
say.
trying to do.
Within
But
our
I don't think that's
government
going to work. I
structure-
think that's a fallacy. I think you need to
Okay.
create the third party.
Okay, well, you can create a third party. You have to do it from a regional perspective. You have no region.
What?
What are you talking about? Look at the.
Going to create a viable third party. Okay, in
Region
any way,
as
shape,
in Republicans are in the South.
no. Well, yeah, region as in these states. You create a power block within those states where you start winning elections within those states. The only other time that the United States came close to a viable third party was back in the 1920s when you had the Granger movement going on.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain that earlier on, but I got cut off by you having a fucking epileptic fit.
Okay, well, 40 ounce hasn't talked in a while. 40, give your thoughts, and then let's hand it back off to Ryan. Me and MC have been monopolizing like the last 30 minutes. Go ahead, guys.
Monopolizing. Well, see, that's the funny thing is that when you guys are talking about monopolies in terms of political monopolies, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I would argue that it's not necessarily an actual monopoly, quote unquote. It's a natural monopoly, which is something I vehemently I disagree with you guys when you're talking about. It's not as if there's, you know, because I mean this is why we have antitrust laws in the United States. If it was a monopoly, it would have been broken up. But it's a natural monopoly, meaning people naturally will flock to these two parties because these are the parties they agree with.
Yes, if they don't have any other choice. That's the problem with the monopoly. When you only have two choices, then you end up with a monopoly.
Cap. I said let 40 go and then let Ryan go.
You end up with two
let's do that.
monopolies in that scenario.
Yes, I noticed how Hudson was in parentheses, but I mean, that's the thing. That is a monopoly. When you have no other competitors, that's a monopoly. A natural monopoly is when you have a plethora of competitors, yet everyone still flocks to this one service or this one party in this circumstance.
No.
So there are still other parties. It's not like it is a monopoly.
I'm not buying that argument.
Wait. So the Democrat and the Republican Party aren't monopolies?
No, they're still the Green Party. They're still libertarians. They're still
but they won't let us talk.
Hold on. I agree with Mad Dog on this. They don't let them because they didn't let the libertarians in, and you guys know how I feel about libertarians. Anyways, love you, Mad Dog. Anyways, fucking. I had a point, and now I don't have a point. Fuck.
They wouldn't let them libertarians into the debates. You were gonna say?
Yeah, exposure. I mean, average Joe in the middle of Appalachia would not know who the fuck didn't know who the fuck Gary Johnson was.
Well, if we have a more well-established party, why aren't they getting out there like we saw in Perot? Because I heard that Perot had donated to the Big Three Net. Wait a second. MC, are you saying Fox News ruined everything?
No, but let's go ahead and let Ryan talk. He had a point. He kept trying to talk.
Let's see.
I just want to say super quickly. I used the wrong term. It wasn't natural monopoly. It was. There's another term I'm looking for where. Shit. Give me a second. No, go fuck yourself, Cabbage. No, there's I can't remember the term of it, but it's just like there are other competitors, but people still use this one product. I could have swore there's an economic term
absolute, for that. Imperfect, discriminative, legal, natural monopoly, private monopoly, public monopoly. Let's see.
What the fuck is
probably
that?
Like imperfect monopoly.
Yeah, let me start.
Yeah, I think that's right. This is the definition. I'll put it in the chat.
Imperfect monopoly. In economic theory, imperfect monopoly is a type of market structure showing some but not all features of the competitive markets. Forms of imperfect competition include monopolistic competition, a solution which repeats. That might be.
I don't know. Like some of these seem like pretty like for
yeah, I mean, but yeah, but I mean, I suppose you could say the gist of what I'm trying to say is that yes, there are two parties and they rule the political. They rule the political climate, but I mean, there are still other options for people to go to.
No, I think we're actually wrong on this. It's not this is the difference with the way it works. It's not a monopoly because then it would be singular. What we have is a cartel. We have a dualistic cartel. In the same way as you have companies that will then work together in order to ensure that they get the same price so that they can all make the same money.
Isn't that illegal?
So it's a cartel. It's not. Well, of course it is. Technically, you could do RICO laws on this shit.
Violates
nobody
antitrust
does.
laws.
Yeah, but they won't do it because that's the establishment. I'm sure MC is just sitting there with a fucking vein popping out of his head right now.
As you're frantically flicking your damn lighter again. Anyway.
No, it's okay. It lit first time, mate. Thank God. You see,
he just lit like 7 cigarettes at once.
That's right.
I've got the deer noise on tap. Okay.
Hey.
Start with me.
Keep it handy. Hey, can you send that to me? I want it on a birthday card.
I made it my wife's ringtone.
That's just cruel.
Oh well, I'm not a role model. Never said I was a role model.
It will cause you to answer the phone. I'll give you that.
Everyone would be like, "What the fuck is that noise?" But no, I think like it's very hard in this country for third parties to get a foot in the door because of the RNC and the DNC working very closely together.
Well, what's the reason? Is it really because of like the electoral college?
Like
is
power sharing, like, oh yeah, you get this piece, I get this piece.
But realistically, like, why couldn't you do it? Like, it doesn't really come down to the electoral college, like for the presidency.
No.
Okay, it comes down to the regional, how the regions work, okay, and how the regional differences are when it comes to an overarching type of campaign.
All the parties are allowed on the ballot. That's not what we're arguing about here. What we're arguing about is getting the same exposure for the same amount of for the same candidate running.
The exposure is there. All right.
Well, no, because so the DNC and the RNC run the presidential debates, the main debate. Now they can allow who they want in.
No, they don't. Though they don't run the debate.
Yes, they do. They do. Why were they sued? Why were they sued? If they don't run it, why did the lawsuit go to them?
Okay, and what did they get out of it? What did the Libertarian get out of it? They didn't just
They have access. They have access. They won. They kept putting it off until after the 20 years.
You're wrong when you said that they sued
killing your
just
children.
the RNC and the DNC. They also sued CBS because they were the ones specifically that were with the debate that they won. Okay, that was this. The parties themselves, all right, do not control the media. They have to be invited. People have to be invited to these debates. And they came back and said, okay, these are your standards. You didn't live up to your standards. Nothing else. They didn't win any money. They didn't win any
MC, why not invite the Libertarians?
Here, well, okay.
Okay, the reason why.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I have a link up or an article. Let's see, I'll put it in the chat, but it's from 2016, and it specifically talks about the Commission on Presidential Debates. So this like independent commission, basically, that regulates like debate moderation, basically, and who participates on debates. So it says here that to participate in debates, candidates need support of at least 15% of the national electorate as determined by 5 selected national public opinion pollings. Let's see. If one of these candidates somehow is at that threshold in September, then all bets are off on the 2016 election. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through this now. But yeah, basically it says there's this independent body that already says, that already has these conventional norms set up for how we engage in debates. But they're not willing to budge, essentially. And whether or not the two main parties have been like giving this independent commission money or not,
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah,
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, because it says here that Gary Johnson has the Libertarian Party scores about 8%, and Jill Stein of the Green Party scores about 4% in a four-way race with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So they did not break the threshold of 15%.
Well, but the reason that they don't break the threshold is that they're trying to compete on the national stage.
Right.
If you create a regional power block, okay, then you would be able to credibly say, I'm reaching this threshold. Why?
Yeah,
because go ahead.
Yeah, but if they had more exposure, they could get those numbers.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: they have all the exposure that they can take, that they could shove in one mouth.
Okay, just a minute.
No. Who was it that was on that? I'm sorry. Who was it that was on that interview where Gary Johnson freaked the fuck out?
Ooh, 40 got saucy. Damn.
Town hall.
It's incendiary terms, Mad Dodge.
What is Aleppo?
Jalapeno.
What is Aleppo? I hate, and you guys, I don't like the libertarians, but Mad Dog has a point about third parties in general.
Aleppo is a place that you shouldn't bomb, and I'm looking up the numbers on how much time was spent in the mainstream media on the libertarian on Gary Johnson in the election, and I'm gonna guess it was 1/10 of spent on everybody else. They are not getting.
Well, no one liked him. He was
the exposure
creepy.
they're getting.
He is creepy.
There are plenty of Republican when they were all running.
Nobody likes him. Let's talk about Ron Paul. Ron Paul in 2012.
We had Bill
Rude Paul 2020. Fuck you.
Yeah,
that's the only Paul I want to talk about.
Ron Paul 2012 had a quarter. Ron Paul had a quarter of the exposure, and he was running for the Republican nomination for president, and he had won the debates. The debates he let him on.
Yeah.
Like if you polled the crowd, he won.
And what did he poll? All right, when you're saying, hold on a second. You said
were sat
hold on
at
a
the
second.
RNC.
You said that he was polling 20% or something like that, right? If he was polling that high, how come he won 0 states?
0. He took the Iowa straw poll. What are you talking about?
Hold on.
Well,
what are you talking about? Ron Paul in 2012.
Hold on.
Ron Paul in 2012
Right,
did take the Iowa straw poll. Or no, he took second. Sorry, but that's still right there.
But isn't he still, a Republican?
No. When you're talking about the straw poll, they give it out piecemeal. It is still right there. I know a little bit about how they break down the
straw polls. The thing about the difference between a straw poll and a primary is it's not a they get together and then in the different districts they all argue amongst themselves and then they take a in front of everybody, they say, okay, who do we agree with? Who do we not agree with? Versus an actual ballot where it's a secret ballot where you put it in the
but it's still it counts.
So it's not a shaming vote. You don't get shamed in a private vote.
Correct. So I mean,
that's the reason. That's how Trump got into power. That's the reason because everyone did all of these fucking polls and things, and nobody was willing to admit. Right, but the whole point was when people were actually allowed to make their own private decision, then you got Trump. That's how it worked.
I know there was some crying in the background, but it looks like Ryan looked something up. I saw him going on his keyboard.
There's a slaughter. There's a slaughter going on in the background. It sounds like fucking.
No, sorry, my mic is too good. Apologize. You want me to put on my shitty
but why
headset?
are they so upset? Why are they always crying and screaming? What are you doing to the poor bastards?
Are they crying right now?
You did.
Yeah. Fuck
Look,
you
guys.
It's all your
leave Mad Dogs alone until you hear the chainsaw start up.
That's literally an at-home attack.
I will fucking play the deer. I swear to God.
Here's an article from the Washington Post from 2011 about Ron Paul and his, let's see. Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul is gaining steam in his race for the GOP nomination, up to his highest level yet, 15%, in the new Washington Post ABC News national poll. He trails President Obama by a mere 5 points among registered voters. It's a possible general election matchup.
But he's still a Republican, right? He still ran under Republican.
Yes.
In 89,
there you go.
ran as a libertarian. In 89, he ran as a libertarian. or 88 or some
But
shit
why
like that. It
give
was
up?
in the 80s.
I don't understand the libertarians that give up their L's to be R's. I don't understand that.
They do what
Okay.
Ryan's idea was before you got here.
Look
If you
at-
want to go
look
over that
at-
again, Ryan, let her know
Look
why
at-
they do
all right,
that.
hold on a second, because it doesn't just happen on the Republican. It doesn't just happen with Republicans and Libertarians.
Or
Look at
Democrats.
Look at Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was an S. All right, he chose to run against the Democrats on the Democrat ticket, but he has always been a socialist. And as soon as he lost the representative, he switched his party affiliation back to socialist again. All right, so it's not a consequence necessarily of the parties working together. It has to do with the way things are structured and what gives you an advantage within these structures.
I think
and this
with
is the way our government is structured.
I think with the left, I think it's much different from a right wing or even a libertarian view of things. Because with the left, if you look at someone like Chuck Schumer or I don't know, Elizabeth Warren or Nancy Pelosi, these people they do hold many socialist beliefs, but they don't identify themselves as socialists. When Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, he does openly identify himself as such. And I think, despite the fact that probably these establishment Democrats do hold very similar beliefs, despite that, they want to enact their ideas in a soft power kind of way. They don't want to go full steam ahead, like in the way that Bernie Sanders is proposing, but they still hold these same values in a way.
To an extent,
but it's like subverting your ideals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're only interested in power. That's what they are interested in solely.
Well,
so why the L's changed to R's? Why they want to subvert their brand?
Because it isn't. Hold on. The reason it isn't so much it isn't just them subverting their brand. Okay, it's also the fact that the parties themselves, all right, broaden to the point where they encompass most of those ideals to encompass that group.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't give up my ideals. I don't know.
Well, no, that's fair though. MC, that is fair because Ronald Reagan himself said libertarianism is the third leg to the stool that that is Republicans. But
that's Ronald Reagan also said, "I cannot remember anything."
It's actually, it's not a stool leg. It's a fucking bong. That's what it is.
Thank you. I'll work with that.
Hence, libertarians are nothing more than Republicans with bongs.
With bongs.
Yeah.
They keep running as ours. I mean, fuck.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Platform.
I think if you're in a particular party for a particular reason, you should just stick with it. I don't know. I don't know why you can't just go balls deep.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons is that
you've never gone balls deep. You're a leather.
Well, one of the things is that when you're talking about the libertarian power structure, you're talking about a power structure that's far more diverse than the Republicans or the Democrats. I mean, me and Ryan were just talking about this before we came on air. I mean, we're talking about the libertarians, you're talking about the leftitarians like Gary Johnson, but at the same time, you're talking about ANCAPs. And so you're talking about a power base that is spread out across literally multiple ideologies versus the Republicans or the Democrats, where you have a rather homogenous kind of form of ideals. You'll get the outlier like Rand Paul, or you'll get the Bernie Sanders. That's part of the party. But largely, you're talking about a group of people that will stand firm and when come face to face with the guys across the street. So if you want to run as a libertarian, that's damn near impossible to even solidify your voter base as a libertarian.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's far more easier to run as a Republican than it is a libertarian.
It blows. Is my point. It fucking blows.
Once again, if you're going to create a party system, this is why if you're going to go this route, you have to do it from a regional perspective first. You have to bring it up from grassroots, and you can't try and do it from a broader based national perspective.
Well, that's why I tend to agree with what Ryan was saying. Basically, if you can try to work from within initially. And then if you give it your all, if you try to follow the rules as well as trying to actually like win friends and actually influence people, like if that doesn't work, then just create something new. I just say fix it before you replace it.
You have to transmit these ideas
is-
and values that are held by people in at the lowest levels of power, just your average constituents. You have to be able to manipulate the essentially the information lines so that this information that people want, that this people have, or that this people want to get out, like, okay, we want, let's say, limited government or yada yada yada, whatever like libertarians want. You have to basically shift the playing field in that direction in order for those ideas to even be received by the parties themselves.
Is the problem that the structure is not allowing that? The only reason I bring this up is because yes, the local party is a big thing, but was it like the local DNC broke because they were taking most of the money nationally?
Once a third party, once its stance or its platform, right, its planks, once it gets powerful enough, what happens is it'll be incorporated into one of the larger parties. One of the larger parties will naturally adopt it. And as soon as they do that, then all of a sudden there's a shift, all right, in people that are no longer, quote unquote, third party libertarian per se, and now they're Republican, or third party socialist, and now they're Democrats. That's how the parties. That's how the parties shift.
I just finished reading the 12th.
Yeah, and that's also how the parties.
The 12th Amendment of the United
created,
States
was
is
by
upon the
incorporation.
election of the actual president. And what they actually say is very interesting here is they will take the top 3 candidates for the voting of the president by the House via the individual states there. So actually, there is constitutional precedent to have at least 3 decent parties.
Wow.
That's what you're talking about there specifically is you're talking about the electoral college, and that's only if someone doesn't reach the majority in the electoral college on the first ballot.
Well, that would tend to happen if you had an actual like really strong third party, right?
It could, but in order to do that, you would need to be able to win states, which means you need to be able to win a region. Then you could throw it to that.
Yeah.
Yes, then you can sit up there and have that kind of power.
So what you're trying to tell me, MC, is I should have ran.
I told you that how many different times?
Wait, you're not running? Who the hell am I managing?
I'm not running in 2016, dude. It's too late.
2016. Well, that okay.
Or not 2016, but 2018. My bad. Sorry.
Dealing
with screaming kids, trying to shut them up. I ran out of duct tape. I don't even know what to do.
Dude, you should campaign in a cape.
Yeah.
Souls 2020.
But no, Trump's gonna win president. I might as well. I'll be 35 in 2020. I could run for president.
Start small. Have you learned nothing from MC?
Yeah, purchase the bumper stickers first.
We have to start small. We have to get you a tiny little kingdom to rule over before we can claim the empire.
So I'm ready for dog catcher next month. All right.
Really be Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So there was a few stories, MC, that you had to talk about. You want to bring one of those up, and we could end the show on some actual news, unless you guys want to keep this free flow. That's what I kind of had written in the description anyway. I didn't have any real show map today.
MC.
Sorry about that. Give me a second here.
Level of
There, I had to get rid of something, so I apologize.
Next 20 years, there will be a Disney World somewhere in Korea.
Well,
The first thing
Britain's been turned into a fucking Disney World.
The first thing that I put in here was a LA article where an LAPD officer was arrested for trying to smuggle immigrants from across the border.
Yeah, that was on the top of Drudge, right?
Wow.
I don't remember where I got this from, but it's from the Los Angeles CBS local news.
Yep.
Yeah.
On top of Drudge.
It's the Onion, right?
No, this is not an Onion.
No. This is let me see. Mombasa Koloko.
Oh my god.
So some guy.
What?
Just call it tamale. I mean,
that sounds like a delicious Mexican beverage.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you got to click his name. You know?
So Wanahaka Lugi here has been charged with.
Oh, that's not nice.
has been charged with violating immigration laws, according to a federal complaint filed Wednesday. He was arrested early Tuesday morning at a U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint in Pine Valley, located 12 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border. According to the complaint, at 12:15 a.m. Tuesday, drove up to the checkpoint with 2 male passengers in a 2006 Toyota Corolla. Wow, this is some real, quite a wealthy individual, obviously. While being interviewed by Border Patrol agents, Wanahakalugi
Hey, it wasn't a Honda Civic.
That's true. Yeah, step up. At least it's not a Taurus, I suppose. Showed them his LAPD badge and stated he was off duty. The complaint states. Agents later patted him down and found his service issue gun in his waistband. Holy crap. So he reportedly told border agents that his 2 passengers were U.S. citizens, the men identified as Herman Lopez and his nephew German Ramirez Gonzalez. Eventually admitted they were coming into the country illegally. Or would that be Germain? I don't know.
No, I bet but I bet the cops.
I know what, in a court case, maybe.
No, can you imagine the cops like speaking in Spanish, probably, but like, hey, when they ask, you are Americans, all right? Don't fucking say anything else. I'm a damn cop, you idiots. And then they fucking get detained, and they're like, yeah, he took us across.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Wait,
like
he fucking dude's driving 2 folks over without ID, pulls out his LAPD badge, and is like, oh, don't worry, they're just my brothers, eh?
Yeah, well, that's like, you know, I had that when I went to Finland, and I didn't have I wasn't old enough to drink, you know, but the girlfriend of my sister had a boyfriend who had a badge, you know, and he just flashed his badge and I went in. Yeah, that's good enough, isn't it?
Oh, I just went to Montreal.
That's immigration policy.
Oh my god.
Why not?
An LAPD spokesperson confirmed.
It.
An LAPD spokesperson confirmed to CBS 2 that Patara, I believe is how you actually say his proper name, has been placed on paid administrative leave.
Yeah, but is it paid? Paid.
Paid.
That's what's annoying.
The motherfucker gets his free fajitas still. That son of a bitch. No, I only bring that up because the last Redeye we talked about fajitas.
Has anyone else noticed whenever something terrible happens, they always have to mention either administrative leave or every once in a while they include paid in there just as a jab?
Well, the thing about that, the thing about the paid administrative leave is that if he has leave accrued, okay, then they force him to take that leave, all right, but he's still under being paid. That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
So he has to burn his vacation.
As opposed
to basically, yes, he's being forced to burn his vacation time, and then
that's great. I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail for a few weeks, guys. I need to take my vacation time. All right, thanks. Mail the wife to check.
Well, was he getting paid or did he kidnap these gentlemen?
It doesn't say.
He didn't say he was being paid to kidnap.
He was a coyote. He was carrying him across. Give me a break.
We don't know if he was chasing road runners. But apparently,
I suspect that he was that he was a coyote, and I think Wolshock can probably talk to this more. But there is something where people that are policemen, if they pull over another police officer, another law enforcement officer, they tend just to let them go.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Oh, he got shit unlucky.
Courtesy, isn't it? Professional courtesy. Usually, apparently, the guy didn't get the etiquette card.
I can see that shit.
It reminds me of fucking We're the Millers, where he's like, "You got to go suck his dick to get out of the in Mexico." But just think about it being a girl's dick, and then we get the fuck out of here.
Some girls have penises.
I mean, that's what. Watching. We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Yeah.
About the Russian couple, right?
Shit film.
No, it's about the guy who wants to smuggle.
I don't know.
Jennifer Aniston was in it.
Well, yeah, but We're the Millers, yeah, and she does look good though. I mean, when she gets down to a skin piece.
Yeah.
See, she looks good in a skin piece. Let's face it.
That's what it reminded me of. I'm sorry.
It was released in 2013. It was probably a shit film.
Yeah, most likely what ended up happening here is that they had somebody probably narked them out ahead of time. And that's why
Don't tell that to Dankulus, or not.
He didn't give someone a good enough hand job that day.
I was wondering if we could kind of like tilt the conversation to something a bit more like interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking we could touch upon the whole Kanye phenomenon. And
we all know that
I
Kanye
want to know what
is.
I love how
Wait,
they
Hang
got
on,
rid of
how did it become a
wait a minute,
phenomenon?
no. What is dragon juice? Is that tiger blood? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically,
Dragon
same
energy.
thing.
it's dragon
Yeah.
energy. Get it
Yeah.
right.
It's the same. It's the same thing as fucking Charlie Sheen losing his shit.
Yeah,
It's
fucking
the same bloody thing.
Kanye Kardashian is doing this for attention. He's not getting enough attention. Hey, let's become fucking right wing for a hot second. And
He has been watching Professor Peterson.
let's face it,
He in his room. And
Kanye is probably the worst person on the planet to endorse Trump, anyways. If you think about it, I mean, I don't know.
He's had
But he
bad
broke
press.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. He wants all that attention, and he's getting it.
yeah.
Got
But he's
a-
got
a
but
good
he's
video.
had
He
so
literally
much.
just says the entire
bad
world
press.
just went. "Rrr."
Yeah, Black Twitter is fun to fucking watch.
I'll believe it's legitimate once he starts putting parentheses around coincidences.
When he starts saying huge and shit is when I'll.
Wait, so what you're saying is Kanye West is Q?
What?
Wait, Kanye West is Q? I'm
no,
kidding.
no,
I'm
no.
kidding.
I'm saying if
Everyone
he,
knows
like,
Dennis
actually-
Rodman.
No, he's talking. Q, Star Trek. Come on,
yeah,
you must
yeah.
know that.
That kind of cue. That stuff I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I've been watching some stuff, but
What?
He's
You
just
don't
there
watch
fucking
Star
about.
Trek. That's it.
Star
Boo.
Trek-
No,
oh.
kidding.
yeah, that's
I
like
mean, I have to admit, what I found hilarious about that is that I had no idea that happened until I saw it on my Twitter feed. I went to Twitter for like the first time in like 2-3 weeks, and that was the first thing I fucking saw. And it was so funny because like I made a video, but I never released it because I didn't fucking give a shit enough to publish it. But it was literally a video of me going through and reading off the names and all the people who said, I used to like your music, or I used to love you, now I don't. It was so fucking funny. It's just how fucking quick people turned on the guy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Exactly. It shows the fickle nature of these people, doesn't it? I mean, that there's nothing, I mean, fine, you sing a song, I like the song. How does that somehow affiliate me with you?
Yeah.
It's got fuck all to do with that.
But my social media.
Yeah. Well, my views.
It's intersectionality, man. I'm telling you. Here's the thing. A bunch of folks that like Kanye, all of a sudden, he touched the third rail. He touched the Cheeto Fuhrer, and he said nice things. And everyone's
Within the
mind just like
spectrum.
twinged.
He touched the Third Reich.
Well, no. He worked his way up. He said, I like the way Candace Owen thinks.
Candace Owens is a sellout. I mean, she's a fake.
I'm sorry, but I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say
She's so
something
full of
else,
shit.
Do the ends justify the memes?
Candace Owens was involved in that fucking,
What was it, that
doxing server
website,
and everything.
right?
else. She,
Yeah, that website.
yeah, and
yeah.
she is
Not
such a
doxing
fucking
website.
For doxing, yeah, the
duplicitous
doxing
piece of
website.
shit. She's a duplicitous piece of shit who is and her history is in marketing and everything. She thinks she's doing some kind of mass NLP or something.
As,
she's
as a
fucking
wise
delusional.
Britisher once said, I got better.
Well, do you think then that Kanye West was just trying to steal all the oxygen and basically no one's talking about Candace now?
No, I think he's trying to find himself and make the world better.
I think
be
in
a
the
little bit
advent
fair.
I
of
think he wants attention.
Can we be fair
What?
to Candace, though? People do change their ideas. Like I've said a million times. First election I was allowed to vote in, I voted for John Kerry. All right, I rest my case.
But
We change our
hold on.
minds.
Kanye Kardashian is registered retarded.
No, he got
Is that
help.
official? Has he got a certificate?
No, seriously, he is certifiably retarded or certifiably autistic or just fucking nuts.
I want to see the certificate. I want to see
I
the long
honestly
form
think
certificate.
this is the best publicity stunt he's done.
I think so too. I agree with that. It's all because of the whole diamond and silk scandal, like the scandal that happened with the whole Facebook censorship. Because they actually, I don't know if any of you saw him. They testified in front of Congress, and they were like, like giving the whole.
Well, what was bad about that is they actually placed them under oath, and that's something they didn't do to frickin' that jackass frickin'
Zuckerberg.
Wait a second, MC. You're saying that they put Diamond and Silk, two YouTube/Facebook commentators, under oath, testifying in front of Congress, but the CEO of the largest, perhaps, data sharing service in the world between people was not?
Yes.
Who had censored them? Oh, no, let's not forget that, right?
Wait,
I didn't know that.
Who had censored them?
Hold on.
Yeah.
But Zuckerberg, his oath was the booster seat.
Well, he got a booster. Well, yeah, they did get.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that was a booster sheet. I think he had piles because he'd been rammed by so many black cops.
Wait, maybe it was his power supply.
That was just his battery.
Okay. Hold on though. Is it just me, or is it funny that the government is mad at fucking Facebook for spying on people when the government does the exact same shit?
Why do you think that's so nice?
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wolfshot, first off, that's the government's job. How dare you do their job? Just like we can't build the roads. Anyway, moving on in the chat, Captain Colepile said somebody renewed that website Candace Owen had started. I believe the only person to renew it could be her, right?
Well, no, because no.
Not if she gave it away.
No, mate.
Not if she sold the assets of the.
She was still running the website even as she supposedly got red pilled. So she was still operating the website.
Up her ass.
No, it's also standard procedure that people look for when you look for a domain name. You know, people are looking for domain names that have expired, that have had previous massive hit counts, and you can buy them so that you can hopefully suck up their, their usage.
I mean, that'd be expensive. That'd be really expensive.
No, Carrie Edwards.
No, it can cost a couple of $1,000s. It doesn't necessarily have to be too high. It's, but it does happen. Hell, I used to run a website.
I mean, you could
and the website, when I went back to renew it, right, it used to cost me $10 or something a year. And I let it expire, and I went back to try and renew it. And all of a sudden, it was like $250, $300 when it used to be.
Cabbage, shut up!
I have to make a correction. It wasn't Captain Colepile. It was just my stupid opinion. Our great Canadian friend. So I apologize. Sorry.
Does anyone remember what the website was called that she had? I'm gonna try and look at a what do you call it?
Fuck you, memes. Oh, it's memes and fucking.
What was it called?
Dog again.
I didn't mute you. I don't even know how to do that.
No, you didn't.
No, anyway, go ahead, Ryan.
Social autopsy. That's what it was.
Yes.
I didn't mute anybody. What the fuck?
Yeah, you did. No,
I didn't.
Plausible deniability. Get someone else to do it.
But it says over here in the chat if you mute somebody. I didn't mute you.
Did I mute someone? No, I didn't.
No, memes. You little prick.
It's a running joke. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, dude, you're lucky we didn't bring up the Penguins yet. Oh, by the way,
no, it's making a valid point. There was no need to deny it. Obviously, I touched the nerve.
I forgot the point.
Yeah, well, you don't even know where the fuck you are. You're too busy recording.
But no, if somebody did renew Social Autopsy, if they buy the website, do they get the website as it was already set up, or do they have to rebuild it?
No, you got to rebuild it.
They get the domain name.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you get. And so if you let a domain name
that's what I thought. So they don't get the framework that Candace Owens.
No.
So they don't get the framework that she put there. So
no, of course not.
I mean, if it was renewed, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, good. They get the land, but not the house.
Let's see. Yeah. So I have the domain name right here, and I'm going to put it through a what do you call it? A who is .com or whatever. Like they track the owners of domains and things, so they'll tell you the history of it.
Unless they pay the extra $20 a year.
Yeah, and you can have anonymous. Yes, right. Which I did. What the hell are you doing to your poor children? You know.
There we go.
Mad Dogs. You know what I mean?
No, that was me.
Was that you? What the fuck are you doing?
Deer.
Yeah, that's not me. I muted you, cunt.
I don't know. I'm so used to your fucking children.
Like I said, everything's
That is
fine until you hear the
like-
chainsaw.
My kids do not sound like that. God damn it.
She's suggesting you mute yourself until you have something to say.
Fuck me. That was funny.
It's all funny until it
Ryan,
becomes
who
real.
owns it?
Let's see. I'll try and go back as far as I can, but currently, GoDaddy, they're the server that keeps it up. But let's see, it says private right now. Domains by
Yes, they paid the extra $20.
yeah, register name, registration private.
And it was updated 3/19/2018.
Yeah, and this information right here is the 14th of April 2016. So there's some time where it was someone had to have.
Someone snagged it.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever run a web server, or a domain knows that that's how it works. You can sell it, and then anyone can pick it up. It doesn't matter. A jihadi group could pick up the domain name, and because they think, oh, I'm going to get plenty of hits because there's, it's like name association or whatever. That people are coming onto the site.
I remember when
That's all I'm looking at.
When Virginia Tech happened, and all the an hour after it was on the TV, all these assholes registered domain names for the victims and shit. Or Virginia Tech, we love you, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Actually, a good example of that is what was that recent one that happened with the Facebook thing, the battle bullies or something. You remember that
the bully,
right? And
bully.
Yeah, bully hunters, right?
What is that? I just heard about it.
Oh my god, the bully hunters. That was
yeah.
That was gold.
That was fucking hilarious.
See,
but bullyhunters.org will become available, and then you can get their traffic. So you can suck up retards.
Currently, the social autopsy site is worth approximately $1,126, according to Alexa.
See, told you. I'm not talking shit because I've actually done it.
Does anyone want to buy it?
And it's hosted in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, fuck. MC left. Damn it.
I was about to say, is MC not telling us something?
I know, right? See?
I think MC doesn't want to answer some questions.
MC is going to turn from social autopsy to social executioner. And what he's going to do is he's just going to put everyone's docs up there and be like, all right, you got to pay me. I'm releasing everyone's info.
Joke's on you. I couldn't live in a worse state.
Bully Hunters was fun, dude.
Alexa.
Did they still have the live stream up? That live stream was just cringe.
Hilarious.
So much fucking.
It was.
I don't even think the live stream is still up, and I heard they're flagging everyone who has any kind of footage of bully hunters up on their channel.
Probably on live.
That's right. In fact, no. Who's the purple head fat bitch who who hosted it and made a total fucking balls up? Right? Yeah, but she's suing anyone for using her likeness, right? She's saying that. Yeah, and they had a bunch of elite female gamers who wouldn't show their faces because, guess what? They were fighting amongst themselves.
I just assume most women on the internet are actually dudes.
It's true. I'm actually.
I played World of Warcraft. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I mean, look, nobody's ever heard anyone say the shit that was presented on that video. Come on, nobody. I've been on countless amounts. I mean, even on Counter-Strike. And nobody said, fuck you, bitch, get back in the kitchen or something like that.
There's an archive copy of the site if anyone's interested.
It's not even relevant.
Many comments in passing could be taken in other ways.
Brands and organizations.
Well, yeah, they could be, but
it's kind of like if you have more kind of a quote-unquote left person basically seeing one of MC's tweets and be like, oh, you're such a fucking Nazi. And he's like, I did not kill 6 million Jews!
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's your noise.
There you go. You see, I told him he should stop fucking chastising his children. Treat them nicely. Why do we never hear your children laughing? Actually, That could actually be
That's the
creepier.
real question.
It's true. We only ever hear them screaming and crying. What is going on over there?
No, it's all about timing. They'll be laughing and playing, then somebody takes
Really?
a doll and fucking blow up.
No,
and
it's never happened. It's never happened
bullshit.
the whole
No,
time. Not once have I heard a chuckle.
You're full of shit. Watch the last scream. I was even like, they were laughing. You bad. Oh,
Stop torturing the
all
poor
you.
little
Fuck you guys.
bastard. Seriously.
Sorry, Mad Dodge.
Yeah, bunch of haters around. No, I do want to talk about Cosby, man. He's got to wear an ankle bracelet. He can't leave his house.
Oh, man. I
He screamed. He screamed at his fucking attorney and shit because he thinks he's innocent. Is he innocent? I mean, he was found guilty. We now get to elaborate on it. Is Bill Cosby, Mr. Puddin, fucking guilty of drugging up a bunch of women and raping them when he was a superstar and probably could have got any girl he wanted?
It's only rape if she wakes up. Oh. In the words of Murdoch.
Talking on the aggregate at some point, probably. I mean, I don't know. I haven't reviewed any of the cases. No. But this particular case, I guess at one point he was basically starting to just go off on the dude, and I'm just thinking potentially in that case, was there possible misrepresentation? Because remember, a prosecutor's job is to prosecute, and the reason I think of this is because number one, yes, I did love Dr. Huxtable. Number two, for Bill Cosby himself, I just see everybody going in that direction, be like, oh, I just tossed the dude in jail. He's a piece of shit. I have no idea what type of person he is, what's in his head or heart at the time or now. It's just, I'm thinking potentially it was it the 80s, the 90s? Actually, this wasn't that long ago, but I'm like,
yeah,
let's go to parties, and if you have the chance to get fucked up and maybe get fucked by a movie star, is it something that's mutual? We don't know. None of us were there.
Yeah, but when you said you loved Dr. Huxtable, where did he touch you?
Well, no. Let me bring up a couple other cases. No, look at Kobe Bryant. All right, when Kobe Bryant got arrested, I'm a Blazers fan. I laughed. I was like, "Good, fuck that motherfucker," because I hate the Lakers. But did he really do it? I mean, the dude's a fucking multimillionaire. Like, does he have to rape people? I mean, look at Nelly. Nelly got arrested for the same shit recently. I mean, is there really a pattern? These people it's a power trip and they have to do it? Or are they being set up because they're rich and maybe if I drop the charges, you'll settle out of court, right?
Okay, well, did Michael Jackson fuck those kids?
Oh, I bring it up that.
Good one.
I mean,
she pulled out the Jackson question or the.
I'm sorry. Did
I mean,
does this make it racist now? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Is sleeping in a bed with a bunch of kids, and they're all just in their underwear. I mean,
they never got a guilty whatever out of him.
No, bullshot. Fuck you. What? Go work for CNN. That was the fucking gotcha question. Like, I had a good little spiel there. I felt good about it, and then you're like, "What about Michael Jackson?" I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah, bitch.
So there's
to defend Michael Jackson, I will use a part from Robin Williams.
Right
go ahead,
and so, sorry to kind of go back a topic, but I'm on the Bully Hunters site right now, and it's saying okay, you could become a bully hunter if you want, or you could request a hunter. And so I'm just wondering, are they gonna come in White Knight for you?
Wait.
Yes, no, that's exactly what it was. You don't know. You haven't seen it. Oh, you got to look into it, mate. Honestly, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, you have to see it for what it is.
No, what they do is they
get the ultimate clusterfuck.
They get a stronger gamer to take this other gamer out.
But they don't, because it's actually when they actually did it, it was the same person apparently killing themselves.
Yeah,
because I mean that's.
Yeah, so apparently they set up this whole mock trial of how it's supposed to go. They said it was live, but it turns out it was actually pre-recorded. So they were lying through their teeth in terms of that. But the thing is that you can go back in Steam and you can look at people's previous gamer tags that they've had. And they figured out that the bully was the same exact person as the person who was killing the bully hunter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, they were creating their own
This
problem?
fucking nonsense.
Yes, they were creating their own problems.
Yes.
None of that was real.
And to sell headphones. It was basically like, if you imagine it, like
it was
really
the worst
fucking
Kickstarter idea ever, you guys.
Well, it was an infomercial that went.
That's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a terrible Kickstarter promo.
Yeah. It went totally tits up, and fucking brilliant. The 4chan went completely autistic on it.
Oh my god, Medicare had a fucking shit show on that. It was hilarious.
Couldn't you have solved the whole problem by just creating a blocking macro?
Well, how do you mean? Well, no, I mean, this is the whole point, right? This is the argument, is if you don't want to hear these people abuse you while you're playing a game, you just mute them. I mean, it's like the same thing with Twitter and Facebook and stuff, right? You can block them or mute them or whatever. I mean, like, you could mute me now. I've been muted earlier.
No, yeah, but you can't mute. No, I used to play Ultima Online, man. You can't mute the fucking dude that you bought a fucking castle, you built it up, right? You spent fucking $10 a month and thousands of hours building this shit up. You have a guild, and there's this one dude that's more powerful than you, and he hangs out outside that castle and kills you every fucking time. Damn, I wish. Well, actually, I did.
You
I
don't
found
have to
another
talk
player
to him.
But
right, but you don't
no, I
have to
don't
talk
have
to him.
Oh, so
you
it's not
don't have
about
to listen to him.
It's not.
That's
wait,
the point.
it's not. Wait, I thought it was about the actions. I thought bullying was action.
Well, it's about the fucking idea that, you know, they are getting verbally abused. That's the problem that they say, because that's harassment.
Have you ever played? No, that's dumb.
Yeah,
no, if
of course
it's a Kickstarter to have like a bunch of bounty hunters on World of Warcraft, I'm down for that. That's a great idea.
No, that's been around for a while.
But wait, MD, you just kind of proved some of their point, though, didn't you? Because was it just that, or was it also getting completely like bone teabag in the game, or I don't know? You actually brought it. Because I played Ultima, and I know what you're talking about, dude. It was the first time I died. I freaked the fuck out.
No, you go and you find a wanderer, and you come back, and they kill you again, and then they loot your corpse again. Like they let you grab your shit, so they get a little bit more.
Okay, that sounds like some gay shit. All right, great.
Yeah, so, but that's got nothing to do with the bully hunters. It's got fuck all to do with bully hunters.
Ultima Online, sorry.
Yeah.
Basically,
being supported the way back machine again means we gotta stop doing that.
Look, as a woman gamer or whatever that's fucking played online games like Left 4 Dead, I used to play Left 4 Dead online all the time. I would get guys in there that, hey baby, you want to suck my dick, blah blah blah, and I would just shoot them in the fucking face or something. I don't understand, I guess, the whole I can't handle the online stuff. It's text on a screen, or it's someone in your headphones, and you know what you can do? Disconnect.
Or play Farmville.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, most of them are playing Candy Crush anyway, right? I mean, this is the point. It was a problem that doesn't exist that they tried to fix, and so they could sell headphones.
It exists. No,
right?
it exists. I'm not saying
it's not sexual harassment. I mean, it's like a guy. Like, okay, how many times did they identify the fact? So I'm going to come and fuck you in the ass, you know, because that's what you say, right? I'm going to fuck you up, right? You could say that to a guy as easily as you
I don't know. What do they say in middle school now?
Yeah, but this is the problem. They don't do that because most people, when you play a game, that shit doesn't really happen. I mean, that's the weird thing about that whole fucking bully thing.
Fucking happened.
It just made it so ridiculous. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean,
you're a woman.
It happens to me too. But it happens. Yeah, but it happens to everyone.
His avatar has changed.
Anyone in the game. It doesn't matter who you are. They all say the same shit to you because they don't give a shit. And half the people with female names are male anyway.
I'm sorry to interrupt. interrupt, Mrs. Cabbage. But
fuck you.
I do.
Fuck you, shithead.
Fuck you harder. I have to take off actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce as well. So yeah.
Mad Dog, you doing like a weekend Redeye or doing anything this week?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it this weekend. We skipped like a month, so yeah. And Ryan, thank you for coming on. You're welcome anytime. I appreciate it, man.
Nice to Ryan, that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, good to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you all. See you later.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
See you guys.
Finally, we have someone intelligent on the fucking show, Mad Dog.
Fuck off, 14.
Yeah.
And now they're never coming back.
Yeah, well, now that they're gone, let's talk about stupid stuff.
Let's talk
Like,
about
I don't
titties.
know.
Titties.
Well, that's not stupid.
Titties.
Well, yeah,
I
it's not
think everyone
stupid.
here likes boobs.
Let's degenerate to the lowest common denominator, shall we?
Yeah, goddamn it.
I do believe the majority of the world prefers boobs or likes boobs.
Dude,
It's
seriously.
true. Well, we'll
Who
start
doesn't?
with
Even
them.
the women love good boobs.
That's why I made the statement.
So I think everyone in the world loves boobs.
If you
All right.
breastfed.
So let's move on to something non-political. And
I was-
seen any good movies lately, Wolfshot?
I saw Infinity War. It was all right. I don't know why everyone's fucking like they're having a cry on the Twitter about it, and I'm like, this is what happened in the comics. Shut up.
But if you say it was good, how many people are going to retweet that? Whereas if you say this was the worst movie in the world, it was obviously influenced by parties A, B, and C.
I don't know. I didn't like.
We live in a very complaining world.
It felt like a giant clusterfuck. Like there were so many fucking heroes in it. I'm just like, ugh. Insert deer noise.
Yeah, but that's like what people have said about, Super Troopers 2. That got fucking slapped down, didn't it?
That's the exact opposite, man. Super
I
Troopers
was
2,
about
they
to
waited
say-
like 15 years too late. Infinity Wars, they've been doing this for the past decade, building up.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's a comparative thing in terms of, people had high expectations and then apparently they were let down.
I watched A Quiet Place. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Like seriously, I was very surprised because I'm like PG-13 horror. What the fuck is this gay shit? But no, it was really good. It really hit home too. I highly recommend.
Well, to you, as a lesbian. Well, it's not going to
No,
work for
as
me
a
then. is
person,
it?
as a
I'm
as
not
a
a lesbian.
no, as a daughter, or it's mostly about this one family and their bullshit that happens with these things. I don't even know. I don't even know what the fuck the thing is. I thought it was gonna be another Cloverfield movie. Hell, it might be, but it was really well executed.
Cloverfield. Oh my god.
I got so sick in the theater because the seats we got, I didn't know it was that type of movie. Dude, my motion sickness was, it sucked.
I actually liked. I didn't like the first Cloverfield. I liked the Cloverfield Lane and the one that was on Netflix. I really dug those, but I didn't like the original Cloverfield
That
film.
one was pretty good.
But
MC, Cabbage, I'm bitter towards you, Wolfie, apparently. MC
Why?
says. I don't know. He must
What did-
have the answer.
what did MC say?
He said that I'm bitter towards you. So, it must be true because he's done the data gathering.
Wait, when the fuck did he say that?
He's done it. It's in the fucking messages in the chat.
I have no idea,
yeah.
man. I can't read
Screenshot.
right now. I can't read. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm having trouble.
I can't read.
I'm working towards blindness as well. It's
I'm serious. I can't read right now.
Oh shit! How thick are your glasses, Cabbage?
Oh, I've got bottle top. I'm bottle top. Bottle, whatever you want to call them.
Coke glass. Coke
Yeah, whatever.
Coke bottle lenses.
Are you Bubbles?
Yeah.
Do we hang out with Bubbles? That'd be amazing. You don't have the right accent though. You're not Canadian.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
No, he's like one of those pint-sized scientists from like those like 60s cartoon shows with anthropomorphic like underdog and shit.
Oh, you know what? Son of a
Cabbage reminds
bitch.
me of Super Mario.
No, wait a minute. Let's talk. I want this to be
Wait,
the last
Wario?
topic, then we'll wrap up.
Mario.
We'll wrap up. Just a second. We'll wrap up
Hey,
after this
I'm
topic.
the brain. I'm the brain,
No.
and MC's Pinky.
No, you brought up fucking cartoons. All right. Apu. Fucking
Oh, shit.
God.
What the fuck, guys?
That episode was
Yeah.
What the
good,
fuck?
though. That where Lisa does that whole spiel.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, but then they fucked it up by apologizing later.
Yeah,
know?
why?
They should have stuck by their guns, you know?
That's why I like South Park so much. They don't apologize for shit.
No, but he's leaving the show now. Like he's gonna leave.
Yeah.
They're giving in. No more fucking Quickie Mart guy.
Wait,
what
they
the fuck?
fired a boom?
Are you
He's-
serious?
Yeah, no, he didn't
Yeah,
fire
I'm
him.
serious.
He stepped down.
He
because of
left.
social justice pressure. Yeah, he fell on his own sword. I mean, he fell on the sword of social justice horseshit.
Yeah, but it's okay
It's
to
so
have,
messed up.
have Willie the landscaper be this drunken Irish bastard. But Apu,
Exactly.
He
was
wears
the
a
man?
kilt. He is a Scottish bastard.
actually,
He's a
the
Scotsman.
Irish had kilts too.
Everything in South Park is a fucking caricature. You know, they're all inside. I mean, look, how many times have you seen the British ones where they come over and it's all like bucktooth, fucking, you know, like acting like complete retards, right? I mean, I laugh at that. I find it funny. I don't have a problem with it.
The Canadian.
The idea that Canadians have a problem, do they? Why would
No,
that
no, I just like the way they fucking make their heads.
Yeah, exactly. Bouncing heads and stuff. I mean, why would anyone give a shit about that?
I'm not.
I mean,
your
no,
guy,
but South Park, right? No, the South Park has done loads of episodes where, you know, they come over to England and, you know, they've caricatured the English. Well, that's funny because that's the point, right?
Well, no, and
That's
here's
the point
my-
of it. Everyone's a caricature. Homer
Yeah.
Simpson is a caricature.
No, you're absolutely
you know,
right.
Bart's a fucking caricature.
Yeah, you're
So why
absolutely
is
right.
it that one Indian guy
Oh
is
my
apparently
God.
the exception to the fucking rule? It's madness.
No, but what I'm trying to say though is a franchise that's been around since I was 5 years old. I'm 33. How are they giving into this type of bullshit? They should have the clout, all right? They haven't been canceled. They've been automatically renewed for over 20 years. I mean, come on. Why give into this shit?
well, that's why they
Wow.
can't play Looney Tunes anymore, right? Because
Really?
like half of the characters are characters and they're stereotypes, like Speedy Gonzales and then the fucking French skunk and
Wait a second.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a second.
Pepe Le Pew. You never get away with him again.
Gonzalez and Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah,
Dude,
you can't
have
have
you-
that
when's the
Pepe Le
last time
Pew.
you
He's a
saw-
Gone too
rapist.
far.
wait, when's the last time you saw fucking Looney Tunes on the TV?
That's true. Fucking hell.
They're not
Internet.
PC enough, dude.
Oh,
That's
dude.
so
No,
stupid.
you know what? Bullshot has a point. I was
It's
watching.
true.
No, our Netflix got canceled, so
Oh.
I used YouTube to find cartoons for my kids for the TV through my phone. I put on
I know.
old school. No, wait a minute. I put on old school fucking Bugs Bunny and shit. And in the middle of all the old black and white cartoons, there was fucking, black caricatures with fucking big ass lips and
Yep.
shit bouncing
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, they were racist.
My
Like,
favorite
damn.
Looney
Only
Tunes
one.
episodes are the war ones when they're fighting
Yeah, but they.
Bunny's fighting fucking what's his face, the Jap, and they've got posters that say like slap a Jap and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it
No,
was a
Looney
different
Tunes-
time.
Yeah, but Looney Tunes, you don't see that shit on TV because it's not PC, and it blows. I love Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and if you like Pepe Le Pew, then you're a rape apologist, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously, that's
So
one of
what,
the.
Yeah,
so,
that's how
so,
it
so
is.
what you're
It's
saying
mental.
is that's the reason JF didn't respond to my meme of him of Pepe Le Pew.
God, I hate
Hey.
that guy. I hate that guy so
Oh,
fucking
wait.
much.
I like JF.
I don't. His voice annoys the shit
I don't agree
out
with
of
him
me.
on everything, but I understand his logic.
No, like I don't even give a fuck about his beliefs. Just his voice annoys the piss out of me.
So sick of
I
MD
find it
and
soothing.
JF anyway.
I don't know. It's just like, good for you. You fucked a potato. I don't care. Shut your mouth. Well, the girl was
I don't even want.
So what you're saying is we have to settle with a caricature of a cartoon large dude battling a chicken.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's Family Guy.
Well,
Well,
so
Family
here's-
Guy's been canceled. Family Guy's been canceled a couple times.
Well, no,
Yeah,
who's going to take
so
over?
I was saying about fat guy, you know, I mean, that's one of the major Family Guy kind of things, right?
As a Simpsons fan, who's going to take over the Quickie Mart? Are they going to what? Fucking bring in Cleveland?
Your
I mean,
kids
what
are
the fuck?
killing people, I think.
No, they're just gonna open a Walmart.
Well, no, it'll be
No,
it'll
they're
have to
playing.
be it'll have
They're
to,
actually
it's
not
gonna be a
trying.
transsexual, mate. It'll have to be a transsexual, right? So they're gonna have to bring in some kind of trans I don't know, whatever mutant.
All right, guys,
creature
I gotta
that
go.
they can
My
find.
wife making dinner. Y'all have a good night. All right. Thanks for having me on, Mad Dog.
Yeah, take it easy.
Oh, no stamina, Wolfie. Always let me down.
Well, you have to pay an extra stone to refresh the stamina.
Well, no, and
you're muted, MD.
yeah, no, I am muted because yeah, one of them was being loud on purpose now.
Well, you
so
tortured
that
another child
they're in
again.
timeout. Yeah, I put them in timeout if that's torture.
Yeah.
But no. So anything else about The Simpsons, or should we just wrap up? Because I do want that to be the last topic. Obviously, I can't talk anymore. So
The Simpsons great again.
all right, make Simpsons great again. Absolutely. So this has been Redeye Live. Hopefully in another month we'll be back on Mad Dodge Productions. I hope. Like and subscribe, and good night and good luck. Sorry about the fucking background noise. I don't have a studio. Hey, I do have a Patreon though. Check that out.